for September 16th. And is in session at 5:14. Man.
Shall we just start with bills and payroll and get that out of the way? So
So payroll. So we're going to need a motion to pay the bills and payroll.
I make a motion to pay the bills and payroll. Shall we list them off one by one?
Yeah, let me look at these, please.
Mhm.
Chris Jones, $1,500. Chris Jones. So there must have been a heck of a lot of plumbing permits then, or what?
That's the revolving account, the 50% of the permit fee. Those come in from any time, really, I guess. I've seen them go back a year.
Really?
Yeah, when he finally gets to the inspection.
Whoa, that's a big number.
Yeah.
They always send them in when they get a good chunk accumulated.
Oh, is that the way they do it? They save them?
Related.
Yeah,
Like coffee cards?
kind of, yeah.
I know people like that.
Yeah, me too.
Lisa, $600. And Lisa does what for us again? She's our health inspector?
Just COVID nurse.
COVID. So we got 600. We got a bunch of people that got COVID, I guess, then. That's a big number. I second the motion to pay bills and payroll.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
How about the minutes for the meeting minutes for
Take your copy of the
8/26?
minutes.
What do they look like? August 22nd.
On the minutes from the last meeting, when Mr. Kordick was here, did that get resolved, that issue?
The trash bin, it's emptied.
It's empty, but
Yeah,
did they?
It's not removed, it's
It
empty.
was not removed, okay.
Do we
They said
know?
they were gonna remove it, but they didn't. They just ended up emptying it.
Okay. So there's still two of them there then, and one's functional and one supposedly isn't then, but it's empty.
It's empty.
Hmm.
And you were able to contact them though?
Republic? Oh, yeah.
Boy,
Long time on hold.
we did a lot that meeting, huh?
Oh,
That
that's the
was a
one.
long meeting.
That
We were here till
was.
9 o'clock at night.
I was.
4
That was-
hours.
And it was a hot one too. It was a,
Hot.
yeah,
Oh,
I know it's always warm in here, so I dress for the air conditioning.
I can put the AC on and shut the window.
I'm fine.
If anybody's uncomfortable.
Countryside Pub. Oh, they're doing good. Correct, Trish?
Yes.
That's good to hear.
She made the changes and it was
Oh,
for the
yeah.
better,
Yep.
much
Oh,
better.
yeah. Yeah.
Good.
I think I went there right before that meeting, right?
Yeah.
Now how about Village Market?
Village, oh, shoot, Village Market, we haven't been
Back. But she was gonna turn the
back. She was supposed
freezer
to,
around.
she was supposed to turn that around. Ken was gonna reach out to the owner, I think,
Yeah,
right?
about the
About
screen door.
I don't know if he has. So that one's still up in the air.
Okay.
George's Pizza, freezers were in deplorable condition.
Anything on that?
Yep, so the last meeting, two of the chest freezers have been replaced, and they're just waiting for that last. And they got a new stand-up freezer. They're just waiting for that last stand-up freezer to be replaced.
Good. Conditions better?
Getting better.
Getting.
Yes.
Is George back yet?
I haven't been back over there yet. I'm due to go back over. I will check with him just to...
38 Elm Street, any move on that?
Oh, what did I do? I sent the selectmen a memo on 38 Elm. You guys all saw that memo.
Mhm.
Yeah. No response?
Not about that.
Excuse
Did you
me.
follow up about those campers that were between the pond and the cemetery?
I have not driven by. I've left messages and I've never heard back from the complainant, but I haven't driven by. I thought during the meeting that we were... Was it you that was gonna drive by, or no? We didn't, no? I know that there was discussion about it.
Yeah, I thought there was a talk about that too. Maybe I should start recording the meetings so when I type up I have more, my hand only goes so fast.
Yeah, yeah, oh, I know. Have we heard anything more? Any more complaints on that one?
No.
I mean, if you're gonna file a
I tried to call,
complaint,
she didn't respond.
Follow
Yeah.
up.
yeah, if you're gonna file a complaint and then leave your number, respond, answer the phone. I mean, I kind of feel
Yeah.
like, and if it's on her property,
You think she'd be complaining again?
yeah. So do you guys want me to continue, do you want me to drive by, or do you just drop it?
Drive by, please.
Okay. What was the address on that one? You have minutes?
There was not an address
Oh, yeah, that's
given.
right.
That was the one that she just said was located between the pond and the cemetery. But when you look up her name on the assessors, I could probably find where she lives.
Okay.
Hold on. Hold on. Stand by. That property, we're talking about the tents on this land between Cummings Pond Road and the cemetery, correct?
Yes.
That land is owned by the Warren Water District. And the Warren Water District's supervisor, Dave Johnson, saw it and reported it to the police department. I don't know the outcome from there.
So I can check with the police.
You can
Send
check
an
with the
email?
police, and by all means, check with Carol down there at the water department, see if she didn't get anything from the police. And Dave for sure would know. He drives by there every morning. I guess evidently you can see it from the road. So the original, this is all coming in, just trying to remember this. The way that came in, that person lives at 28 Cummings Pond Road, and that number is at the very beginning. And where this is happening is way past Fountains and almost up by the pond.
Ah, okay.
So whatever they were doing, walking the dog or taking a stroll, they noticed it and reported it. And then Dave Johnson saw it and reported it also. So that has moved a little bit there. I don't know whether or not their people are gone or not.
I'll dig in.
Well, it kind of
So
clears,
I'll let you know.
it off our business. If they've taken care of it.
Yeah, we'll see.
Carol's going for the day.
I'll check with her Monday. I'm actually gonna make myself separate.
The swimming pool for 38 Elm. Like went to the select board, so the select board's got that, correct?
Yes.
Okay. 29 Bacon Street. Bacon Street.
dilapidated house.
So that's the one with the barn that's falling down. The last occupant was the one that filed the complaint. Brianna and I went down there and did a full inspection, noticed a lot that was going on. I had the correction order sent out to the owner of record. Sheriff, was it the sheriff's office?
Yes.
Delivered it. We haven't heard back from the person. The last meeting, we were supposed to try to find a way to get, see if we could get it into housing court. In the meantime, Ken and I have been working with one in Sturbridge that we're trying to get into housing court, and we've realized that my correction order forms are not legally up to par. So shame on me. So I'm working on trying to get all the requirements, trying to get those updated. And I think that's a conversation that we need to have with him around too, because I'm not sure. They're now doing a lot of e-filing and there's new courts and he's up to speed with all that. I'm not sure that she and I could just go in, and we might have to request town council.
Yeah, Ken told me to request town council on that one when I
Okay.
talked to him. I did. The selectmen granted us permission
Okay.
to use
Right
town
on.
council for
Okay.
29 Bacon Street.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
So what's our next step with that?
I
Do
don't
we
know. I put
Okay.
29 Bacon on the agenda just so everybody would know that they granted us permission. We just got the email yesterday morning
Oh,
from
okay.
David.
Okay.
Everybody was going to be here today.
Yeah, okay.
So I figured when Ken comes, he could probably tell us the next step.
Good, good.
And then the Emmanuel Church. That was always an interesting one.
Yeah, that was a long one.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody just said that they were gonna let them do their potlucks until they came up with the plan, and if they want direction, they could go to you guys, basically, for direction, right?
Right, so how about that part where it is, it's a nonprofit. It's a nonprofit. So at that point in time, because it's nonprofit, the Board of Health doesn't participate in any kind of, or do we put up a plaque there or a sign or a sticker or something saying, this premise is nonprofit, therefore not controlled by the Board of Health?
So the not-for-profit is where they are exempt from being charged a fee for their permit, if they prove to us that they are not-for-profit. Where they're a potluck, so when they do a potluck, they're required to put up a sign that says, these foods were prepared in a kitchen that was not inspected by the Board of Health, or something to that effect, which I did go over with her and let her know those requirements. So they can continue, because it's kind of a private group, it's semi-public, but it's more of a private group. As long as they're all aware that they're making food from home and they're just sharing the meal as kind of their own group, I'm not gonna go in and follow up and make sure that they have that sign, as long as
Right.
everybody's on board. So it's not like they're at the town common and they're selling cookies
Right.
that were made in somebody's bathtub.
So wasn't there also a part where somebody should be trained in how a place like that should be looked at carefully for any kind of, I forget the name of it,
That's okay.
but give me a couple of,
Yep, so there's a requirement in the Massachusetts Food Code that for a food establishment to be permitted, so a food establishment needs to be permitted, and there's a requirement that they have a certified food safety manager, so someone with that certificate. That person also has to have an allergy awareness certificate. Both of those are required to be from certain approved trainings. So there's only a certain number of places that are approved in the state of Massachusetts. They're required to have those two things. If they serve more than 25 people, they're required to also have a choke saver certificate, first aid, CPR. So the CPR certificate is above and beyond the choke saver, so oftentimes people have that and we substitute that in. So that's where those requirements are.
I believe we should recommend that they do that, or put up our plaque saying, look, this is not under, don't come to us if you got a problem.
Right.
And then bada bing, bada boom. What do you guys think of that?
Yes, I agree. It takes any problems off our back.
Right, yeah,
If somebody was to get sick,
yeah,
So they're not permitted with us.
no.
You guys
correct,
are in agreement with that? They're
Yes.
not permitted right now because they don't have a permitted kitchen.
correct.
Okay.
And not only that, they don't have a person there that's,
So with us not permitting them, I'm just curious how you want to require them to have certain certifications. So what you're saying is you're requiring them to have certifications but not a permit? Recommending, gotcha.
recommending they get
Gotcha.
somebody in there for their own health benefits.
Yeah.
Okay.
Recommend it, and at that point in time, we recommended you do that. That would be, look, this is what we did as a Board of Health, to put up this plaque, say, look, we're not in control of this, no permitting here, and we told them, hey, this is what you should do in case anything does happen. We recommend.
Right.
And do we have any kind of certificates that describe that we are not involved in the activities in that kitchen? Do we have anything like that, would you know?
Not that I'm aware of. I don't know if there's things like that. They're like a standard thing I could print. I'm not sure.
Get a little creative. Don't make it too big. 4 by 6. That, I do believe,
There is a requirement in the food code and it does spell out what the sign should say. So you can look that up.
and if I'm not mistaken, that would help us also with the concession stand at the activities field up there at Quabog.
Yeah.
I would just let those people know, hey, we recommend this, and we're putting up this. Don't take it down.
Takes any responsibility off the board.
Yes.
So I don't know that that necessarily is going to work for the snack shacks. Is that what you're talking about?
I'm only aware of, I guess we're gonna call that snack shack, at the Quabog activities field up there at the football field. That's the only one that I'm aware of now. Where's the other ones?
So the difference between those two, just to put that out there, the difference between those two is between the church and the Quabog activity field, is the Quabog activity field is actually legitimately serving the public. So anyone that shows up there is able to eat from there. Whereas the church, it's a smaller group, it's semi-public, but it's mostly a private gathering for their after-church services. So that's where the distinction is, which makes it vastly different. So we're talking about the church members, the 10 or 12 that meet after church services that are getting together and sharing their potluck meal, as opposed to the 150, 200 people that are enjoying the football game and might go up to the snack shack. So my suggestion was that we permit the snack shack, but we limit the permit to certain food items that you guys have, agreed that they're only allowed to serve. We're gonna give you a permit, we're gonna require these certain things from you, and you're only allowed to serve these kinds of foods based on their limitations of where their preparation is going to happen. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
So where are those foods? Are they just all already like pre-wrapped somewhere or something?
Well, that's where we can make that determination, or they can come to us with their plan. Rather than giving them an open-ended, just here's your food permit, and then it's a free-for-all, and then we're on the hook. Or my fear is if we don't permit them and just have them put up a sign, that really doesn't take us off the hook, because since they're serving the public, it's still under our jurisdiction. You know what?
And
See
Okay.
that? So I'm more of a proponent for permitting them, but putting restrictions on that permit.
limitations.
Yeah, so
So then at this point in time, just to go back to them and go, well, what are you planning on on serving there? If it's gonna be lasagna, pizza that you get from somewhere else,
What are you
bring it
serving
down?
and where is it being made? So if they can say, well, we're making it in the school cafeteria, perfect, the school cafeteria is already permitted and inspected with us. You guys can use that kitchen, we're still gonna permit the snack shack. You make all the food there, it's a fully inspected, up to code kitchen, and we're gonna require that whoever's here, that it's overseen by someone with the right certifications. We can do something like that, or we could permit them and say, we're gonna permit you, and you're only allowed to do hot dogs and hamburgers without a kitchen, just on the grill. Or we say, we're not gonna permit you, and the only thing you can serve there is commercially prepackaged individual for retail, the non-temperature control for safety foods. So like your bags of chips, your candy bars, your sodas. We could even just limit it that way and say, we're not gonna permit you, but that's all you can sell there. Rather than having prepared foods that are temperature control for safety or complex preparation foods. So there's different levels depending on,
Yeah. Do you have any kind of information for those different levels that we can introduce to them so that they can pick what level they want to go? And then we can open up conversations about how each one of those levels or the level that you picked, what would be necessary for you to do?
we can try to
Wait,
put
block
something
school?
together. Maybe I can work with you and we can try to put something. The way I've put it with Tantascwa is that they need to come to me with a plan because there's so many different caveats, right? There's so many, you pick just coffee and hot chocolate, we can probably go with just saying, we're not gonna permit you as long as you're only serving coffee and hot chocolate. Come to us with an idea and then we'll go from there because every situation's a little bit different. I haven't seen that shack. Have you seen it?
No.
No. So I'm not familiar with what utilities are even there. If they have a hand sink, might make it a little bit easier to do serving from larger containers maybe. If there's no hand sink down there, then I would require that everything would be pre-wrapped before it even gets served out. So individually wrapped.
And
You know
someone's
how
gonna be
it's-
touching money too, Trish.
Right, there's so much involved. I would kind of want them to come to us, whoever the them is, and present our plan. Let's have this conversation and let's figure out how we can best support their needs and also protect the community.
Can we get what you just said on paper and give it to them?
We can certainly try to. You want to work with me on that?
Sure.
Cool. Awesome.
Football games have started. I don't know if they're using anything down there right now, but
Yeah.
Melissa said she was gonna get a hold of you when they were ready to do something.
Right, and I
like
haven't
that.
heard from them. I've heard from all the other ones, and they're all doing
Yeah.
commercially prepackaged for individual sale. But as the weather gets colder, they're going to start pushing
Right.
the hot
So
stuff.
would we send something like that to when it's done, Melissa? And let her streamline it to the appropriate
I would think
people?
so, yeah, because I don't know. I don't remember how she said or who she said.
It was one of the teachers there that was running it, but she wasn't sure if he was gonna do it again or something like that.
Yeah,
All right, well, like, we gotta get that done first anyway, right?
Yeah. We'll touch base on Monday.
Sure.
Every one of those shacks that I've seen on my runs was just pizza and soda. And people brought in big boxes of them.
So if that's what they're going to do, if they're going to order pizza, say from George's and bring it in, and they're just going to serve it out, we can limit that permit as well. So we're still, because they're transporting it, so George's is, basically the caterer, but this group of people have taken over possession of that food product and they're serving it out to the public, so then there's that level of safety that is now on them. So we could require them to get a permit and just say, as long as you're serving pizza, you're purchasing from George's or another, permitted place in Warren, that's your restriction.
Because I certainly would be scared of ground beef. How, when was the last time it got warm and things like that?
Yeah. So we have the authority to limit or restrict the permits to make it so that we feel comfortable. We don't have to just give blanket permits.
But
Okay.
even if they're
So-
bringing pizza in, they're serving it out, they still need a hand washing thing.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So that's where we can, before we even give a permit, we should be getting all that information from them. It's not enough, in my opinion, to just make them have a certification. We need to make sure that they have the right stuff and that they're doing
All right.
the right kinds of things.
Does the gloves do anything instead of a hand sink?
No.
No.
There's still a requirement for a hand sink, and if it's just a temporary event, if they can set up you guys as the board can approve a temporary hand sink. So if it's just one event once a week, you guys could approve a temporary hand sink, which is an inverted bucket of water or something with a dispenser that empties into another container that catches the gray water, and then you guys would want to know where's the gray water being dumped. Can't be in a storm drain, can't be out on the ground, can't be in a toilet, it's gotta go, you guys can dictate all that. So there are ways around.
It
Not
can't
having a
go
hand
in,
sink.
it can't go into a storm drain?
It cannot be dumped into a storm drain.
Okay, because that goes into a stream or something like that.
Right, it
So
needs to
how
go into-
about a regular drain?
So if it's a slop sink kind of drain, things like that, you guys make that
So
determination.
that makes
You
it to
guys-
the water treatment plant, say?
Right, right. So you guys can make that determination to say that that's appropriate based on
Okay.
your requirements. You could also approve them for a variance to say, we're going to allow chemically treated hand towels, because that is allowed in the code, but it has to come through and you guys need to approve that.
Okay.
So that's something that I wouldn't want to just allow in my inspections. I would want you guys to know. That way there, if I move along, you guys aren't blindsided down the road and say, wait, how did they ever get a permit without a hand sink?
Okay. You think you can move that with them? Talk to them?
We can certainly start the process and get the conversations going.
Yeah.
And then I think maybe, something like that, I think we should either have them come before you guys or have them present something to us that we bring to you.
The question is, who do you talk to?
That's the big question, because these schools, they let anybody use that space, right? So my suggestion would be to them is you have one person who is in charge of that space.
There you
And that's
go.
my point of contact.
Yeah.
That's your point of
It's like
contact.
the soccer moms
Yeah.
type of thing?
Yeah.
I would not fly for that because I would require each soccer mom
Yeah.
to be permitted. If we're gonna permit that space, then one person needs to be in charge of that space. Would be my recommendation.
Because it's not a nonprofit, it is serving the public.
It is serving the public.
So everything
The
else is off the board,
the
you're
not-
serving the public.
Right. The not-for-profit only matters in terms of the fees that are charged for the permit.
Mm-hmm.
So the permit itself is for food being
Oh, that's
prepared
right.
or served from that location. So
Okay.
that's what our focus is going to have to be. Finding one person in charge and have them set the parameters, and we'll permit you accordingly.
Well, then start with the principal, find out who he lets use that. What if we have to talk to the multiple people that, like the football moms, the baseball moms?
So they should have one person who's in charge of the events,
Okay.
or,
Like a PTO member or something like?
somebody like that, yeah. So in Sturbridge, I was contacted by multiple people, and then I ended up just telling them, listen, I'm gonna go through the principal, and then they can disseminate the information from there.
Okay.
So if it needs to go up to that level, I don't care, I just need somebody,
Okay, yeah,
right?
yeah.
So we'll figure out who that one person is, and if not, I'll just
I
put the name
guess the
tag
question
on.
is, what if there's not just one person? What if there's just that one person from each one of those groups?
Oh, if there's one person from each one of those groups, then each one of those groups needs to be permitted, and they're not gonna like that answer.
Okay.
So each one of those groups then has to coordinate and make sure that their particular food service is appropriate.
So we have to
It
find
makes it
out which
difficult.
direction they want to go then from here
Right.
on that. Okay, so we can contact the principal
Yeah.
and see what his, see where he wants to distribute that to.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Awesome. What else? We got the manual church. The village market. That's always an interesting one. Did they get a door?
We're not sure yet. So I still have not heard from the building inspector. I've made multiple attempts to start communication.
Yeah.
Have you heard anything if permits have been pulled?
No
So I
permits
think-
were pulled the last time I checked, which
Right.
was right before the meeting last month.
Yeah.
No permits had been pulled.
So the way we had left it was that Ken was still, I think, going, or somebody was going to reach out to the owner, whether it's Ken or one of you guys. I
Ken
think it
was going to.
and try to figure out what's going on because we need stuff done.
Yep. Okay, so that's still in the works. One of those things that just takes a little time to make happen. Ooh, tanning applications. How many did we get back?
None,
Oh,
yeah, still.
And how many are there in town that you know of?
Well, we
between
know
here
for
and Westbourne.
sure that there's one, but it's in question that there's two. But we sent them to all of the salons, so we weren't targeting anybody, and nobody responded back.
Because there's two I know
So
that
I sent them to 4
advertise. That's the
salons.
one on Main Street and then the one in the Whiskey Hill Plaza.
Right, so Whiskey Hill,
So
I
there's
haven't
two.
seen anything, but I know that they were doing it a while ago. I don't know what they're doing now after COVID and stuff, but.
So you and I might want to spend a day and go around and meet with people. Yeah.
you cool with that? You can do that?
I love getting.
But I know you're
out of the
busy.
office.
Okay.
It's my favorite part about this job. Are you kidding me?
You let me know what works for your schedule and I'll try to work around that. 'cause I know
Not for
you're-
nothing, hey. It seems to me when I drive through town, I see tons of those signs that say, looking for, maybe it's just beauticians, but I see offerings of tanning beds and things like that, even as a pack. It's something with
The two I've
Bermuda
seen
this
are
and...
down on Main Street and near the post office,
Allard's one of them.
and then
Garage.
Allard's.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a
Whiskey
couple
Hill
out there.
Plaza. Those are the two I've seen the most. I haven't seen any others.
I don't even know if there's any others. I mean, there was that one next to 1051 and 1059 that was a hair salon.
Yeah.
I don't even know if it's that right now.
I don't know, I don't think it's anything. It looks like they were cleaning the place out yesterday.
Yeah.
The
It
hairdresser
needed it.
right there.
Yeah.
What actually do you do with tanning beds? You like make sure they got a timer on them more than 20 minutes?
There's a lot. There's a whole code that I have to follow. So there's certain signage, there's certain amounts of time, there's certain, all sorts of things. Have to check their records, make sure that they're single use, make sure that they're sanitizing between uses, using the right contact time for sanitizers. It's not as extensive as the housing code or the food code, but there's still a whole bunch. You can come with me on inspections if you want.
I might do that.
Yeah.
Dawn is a tanning salon.
Isn't there some kind, what if they're like allergic to the sun? Isn't there medications out there that say don't go out in the sun? Vitamin D or something like that? I don't know. But don't you have to like inquire or whether, are you?
There are certain classes that they need to take to be able to determine skin sensitivities. I think it's called a skin determinator, something like that. There are classes that they are required to take as operators and workers at a tanning salon, so I have to go through all that as well. So technically speaking, if we were to permit a new establishment, it would be another process similar to opening up a food establishment where there's a plan review, there's all sorts of processes involved.
Okay, yeah, let's get out there and either put, padlock on the things.
Yeah. Condemned.
Condemned.
Gotta make sure they're up to date so they don't fry somebody too.
Yeah.
How about all those tubes in there, what if the thing's arcing because of some short and things like that? Shouldn't these things electrically be tested?
Come
So
on.
that's
Did
why
everything
I
like
need you
fried
with me,
chicken?
so that you can go in and check every single unit.
I'll bring my sunglasses.
Kidding with you. I don't check the units. I don't get into each and every single one of them.
At the end of the day, I had a Florida tan, you know? Everything's cool. I'll be back in a week.
Yeah, would that be cool?
Very tanning.
I'm on inspections.
Brianna, did you go take your hazmat class?
The HAZWOPper? No, I'm gonna do that in the winter. I just needed you guys to be on board with it.
Okay. So then, we've made changes to the whole food establishment permit fees?
We didn't have the hearing yet, no.
Okay.
I've asked Ken to go slow when he tells me how to do that again, to write it down slowly, step by step. And he wanted more, so I did more.
Cool. Well, then I'm gonna make a motion to accept the minutes.
I'll second that motion.
August 28th, 2021. Motion has been made and second. All in favor, say aye.
All right. Moving on.
I just want to say before you guys confirm the next meeting date, I'm going to be, and for Sturbridge, Ken and I are both going to the MHOA conference out on the Cape, and we'll be returning that Thursday from the Cape. I'm not sure if there would be a conflict, so, like, timing-wise, to be here for 5 o'clock. So without him, I'd rather not have you guys vote on that or
Okay.
approve it. if
We'll
that's
wait.
okay.
Yeah, if that's gonna be a lot for you, we
It's a
could pick
2-day conference, yeah, and we're coming, I
could
think
pick
it
another
ends
day.
at 3, and then we're coming back from the Cape.
Oh,
We could always just move it a week.
yeah.
I mean, I just naturally go with.
Yeah, yeah.
What part of the Cape?
It's in Falmouth.
Falmouth is cool.
Yeah. It's at the Seacrest Hotel. It's there. They didn't have it last year, but I went the year before, and it was nice. It was a nice 3-day event. Learned a lot.
Cool.
What is it?
The MHOA conference,
Massachusetts
it's Health Officers Association.
Oh.
Yep.
So is that just, you have to be a health agent or something, or is it like a board member?
You have to be an MHOA member to be, I believe it's members only, that you go out there, and it's usually, this year it's only 2 days, but previously it was 3 days. And it's just jam-packed. There's actually 3 different tracks this year. So there's the food track, the septic track, septic and Title V track, and then there's one track in the middle that's public health.
God bless you.
Thank you.
The public health track, so they have different things that line up for each one.
So do you want to just move it to the next week? Would it be better to be what, the 28th?
Yeah, that would be the 28th.
If you go all the way to Provincetown, go out there to Race Point, you can be out on a beach, get a fire
Yeah.
permit, make a fire and sit out there at night.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
awesome, absolutely awesome. You'll be able to pick up wood on your way out there out of Falmouth.
Yeah.
Did you say Falmouth? Or
Yeah.
Falmouth?
Falmouth, yeah.
Falmouth, yeah. Cool, yeah.
Yeah. Text me the information again, please.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay, so the 28th
So
is better?
The 28th, yeah. We're-
Sure. It's fine by me.
Thank you.
You're welcome. .34 West Brookfield Road, complaint closed.
So that one was a complaint that came in. The occupant stated that there was a lot of mold.
Yes.
The infant, you're familiar with this one?
Yes.
Okay. So we went there, we inspected, did the investigation, found no mold. There was high moisture in the apartment, but they had every door and window open. Recommendations were made to close the doors and windows, improve ventilation with fans, try to reduce the humidity inside, and it was closed pretty easily.
29 Bacon Street. That's the one you're still working on?
Yeah, I just wanted to put it on there so you guys knew that the Board of Selectmen approved the request for town council. And Ken is gonna have to direct us on how to go forward with that one. I assume that the first thing I'm gonna have to do is reach out to KP Law, probably, so I have contact information, but maybe we can go back to that one.
Yeah, Ken may not even have to. They may tell you the steps to take and go from there.
Yeah.
You want to take over from here, Charlene? What else you got?
New
Yep.
business? FEP representative.
Ken is the FEP representative for the board, right? Or no, he's actually not even, because I reached out to FEP to see who I should send it to. And they said they didn't even have anything on file for a representative for Warren, but Ken said that he's okay with being the FEP representative, but you guys have to vote on it and approve it, unless somebody else wants to do it. But I need to send a letter in if that's something that Warren is even going to be a part of, I guess.
I watched one meeting.
What's that, Charlie?
I watched one meeting.
Yeah?
It is so detailed. I had a headache when it was over. Very, very detailed.
That was the one you congratulated her on the new job for, remember?
Yeah.
It just, I mean, what do we do? I keep hearing him say something about 90 days. 90 days, something is going to change with him. I mean, is he going to be this representative for 90 days? Is he staying with us or not, I guess?
He doesn't have to be on the board to be a FEP representative.
Oh, he doesn't have to be on the board?
And he already does it for Sturbridge, so he's already at the meeting, but somebody, if he was not the representative, I've talked to Ken a lot about this, it seems at this point, but somebody would have to be at the meetings consistently to vote on behalf of Warren if it's not gonna be him. And then if Warren were to sign up for anything that they provide through grant money, then Warren is also gonna have to take part in like drills and things like that, and attendance is a big thing, otherwise you just automatically get ixnayed from certain things. So I think, I mean, I don't know, seems like it'd be in the best interest to have Ken be there for us. But he already knows what he's doing with it, but probably wouldn't hurt to have other people sitting on those meetings still.
I vote that we have Ken be the FEP representative. All in favor?
All in favor. Yep. It was a little bit over my head.
Was it,
Whoa, yeah.
I guess on my end, I have, maybe I don't understand everything about it, but as a contaminant, it seems to be in firefighter foam and Teflon.
Different thing.
All kinds of different things.
FEP is the Public Health Emergency Preparedness. You're talking about PFAS.
I'm talking about PFAS. Okay,
Yeah.
that's right. Thinking of that.
I got you.
Yeah,
All right. Thank you.
one meeting, and like I said, it was so detailed and they used so many shortcuts that, what's this mean? What's this mean? And they're just going right along and on and on, and it's like, where am I? Type of thing. You know, they use all these abbreviations.
Yeah.
then I gotta go look it all up to see what, it is. I'm not used to hearing all that. So I think it's a good thing to just leave him in that spot for now.
He's been here for 20 years, so I'm gonna continue on.
I agree. RDP grant?
So we were gonna use that money to pay for the hazardous waste day. Spencer has all kinds of flukes going on. They can't set it up anymore, and it's too last minute for any other town to try to step in and save the day, the hazardous waste day. So I thought we had around 12. I forgot we ordered compost bins. I got the paper from the accountant. We have $10,839 in the RDP account. We're looking at more money coming in late fall. Not sure how much we're going to be awarded yet, but we are looking at more money. But we still need to get the money spent because Mass DEP has contacted asking for a plan on spending the money. So I was going to see if the board would be okay with maybe me reaching out to the high school's environmental club, see if they want to work on a project, getting their greenhouse up and running, or a community garden, or just some sort of project that we can use the money from the RDP grant for, and kind of get the community involved with any kind of involvement we can get from the community, because we do have to get this money spent. And I mean, there's a lot of things that go through this office, and I don't think that I have the time or the ability to work on everything in a timely manner. I'm not going to be able to come up with a full functioning project all on my own.
Yeah.
And I think reaching out to the high school and the environmental club is a good idea. The money, the RDP grant includes outreach and education. We can spend money on there. We could even hire somebody to be in control of the grant money. They give you up to a certain amount of money you can spend out of the account to appoint somebody to manage those kinds of things. So we have to work in a direction of starting to spend this money.
Do they teach environmental science up here?
I don't think they teach environmental science, but there are science classes, and they have an environmental science club.
Okay.
No horticulture or anything like that?
I'm not sure what's going on with the school too much. I haven't reached out because I didn't want to get anybody excited without the board's approval.
I'd reach out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Taking off on that, beavers. We get beavers. And beavers like homes, and they like homes with dams. So what happens is, of course, is that the dams break. But you can bring those dams down to a certain level where they're not interfering with anybody's basements or getting onto anybody's property or overflowing. And they have a piece of equipment that is basically just a couple of tubes or big tube, and it works its way. You get a couple of divers in there and make this thing go through that dam so that that water stays at a certain level, just like an overflow tube.
Yeah. The planning board's been talking about that, and so have the board of selectmen. And it will involve conservation also.
So maybe we could get a cost estimate on what those cost, and that some of that money could go for that as well.
Maybe.
We don't need any more breaks.
I know, but the thing with the beaver dams is there's a outline somewhere. We can try. I mean, they said that they will be lenient with any kind of proposal that we send. I mean, they'll consider anything, I think. But the purpose of the grant is to recycle, reuse, and decrease things, and to promote sustainability within a community. So if we could pitch it in a way that provides sustainability, I mean...
Well, not for nothing, if the dam breaks, those homes downstream
It's not sustainability, though.
those homes won't sustain that water flow for very long, and boom, go
Well,
on.
when we say sustainability, we're talking like carbon decreases and things like that. We're not talking sustaining neighborhoods with their houses, I don't think. Kind of different. I don't know. I mean, we could come up with a plan for it, but yeah, I'm not a beaver expert. You can come down and work on it with me. I'll send it.
Okay, I'll see what I can find. That carbon emissions is pretty interesting. Maybe some place where people can plug in their electric cars while they visit all those high-priced stores on Main Street.
Yeah.
You know, plug your car in here and go to the place that serves those milkshakes.
I wonder how many electric cars Warren has.
There's a big controversy over that too, if you follow the planning board and the board of selectmen. Big controversy.
Just looking to explore, you know,
It
things to
cannot
do.
be put here because this is Park and Rec's property. They don't want it there. So it's gonna be moved somewhere else. Well, where else are they gonna move it?
Wait, they're
Oh, yeah.
actually considering a charging station?
Yeah, it was supposed to be put in, but where they were putting it in was on Park's property, and they said no.
Warren has enough electric cars for something like that?
Probably we don't have them here, but it will entice people to pass through the town.
It's for the tourists, Brianna.
Oh, for the
All
brown
this-
crappies in the Quapaw River? Is that what it said?
You know, which is full of tourists.
Yeah.
Okay.
The school. Yeah, contact the school and see what we can do through there. Food manager certification.
Tricia has another class that she's gonna be teaching.
October 24th,
What is the cost of that class, 140?
145.
145 for the class. I would kind of like to take it. I guess I'm asking the board if I could take it on behalf of the Board of Health. If we're gonna go out on inspections, I think it'd be helpful to be another set of CNIs.
I vote yes. I make a motion that Brianna go to your class.
I
Paid for
second
by
the
the Board of
motion.
Health.
I second the motion. Okay.
Get studying.
I should have kept my certifications
I can't
up.
fail a test with you, that'd be embarrassing.
That would be horrible for
You
you.
wouldn't be allowed to tell anybody.
See that? I should have kept my certifications up. Do I have to go to the class or can I just take the test?
Well, of course you want to go to the class, right?
You have to
You
go
want to
to
see
the
what
class.
we're teaching.
I have been in retail and worked with food for 30 years.
I have chefs that come to my class and they learn
Really?
something from my class.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Well, maybe next time.
I probably won't have another one until next spring.
That's fine.
Ken's coming in, Don and Ken could vote. I think Ken's coming in.
Ken's coming
I'll
in
wait
where?
till spring. I got so much going right now.
You sure?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Fee schedule review.
I think this is kind of important for Ken to be here for this.
Okay.
Actually, probably the last 3 items are important for him to be here for. I don't know, you guys want me to start and then go over it again with him, or do we know if he's on his way? Anybody?
He was coming from class in Acton,
Oh, right.
and then he had to stop in Sturbridge to return the car, the town car,
Okay.
so I don't know.
Okay, well, I can present some of this stuff to you because,
Kind of review it with us?
yeah.
Okay.
So, in light of what we might be looking at, with the change in the board, it's looking like, well, we will have to hire an agent for soil evaluations for perk tests and for plan reviews for the sewage disposal system permits. Ken does that right now. So I've done a little bit of digging around. The first thing that I did was I looked up to see what qualifications a person needs in the state standards to hire somebody like this. So it didn't print right, it printed kind of funky. But you need to be a registered sanitarian, a certified health officer, licensed septic hauler, system installer. You have to have at least 1 year of experience inspecting these things. You have to be one of those, right? And nobody here is one of those. So we're gonna have to hire somebody. So these are the parameters on qualifications if you guys want to look at those. Okay, I didn't print a bunch because I'm not gonna waste paper, okay? All right. then I started looking into the cost for some of these things. I think I put them over here, I gotta think. We'll keep this aside for when we talk about the rest of the things that
Okay, good.
Ken wanted to look at. Just keep that aside for now. I don't know if you want, but I printed one for you just to have, I guess. And then that's one for Ken and made a photo if I need it. Okay, so this is the breakdown of towns that I found. Not every town responded to me on how they pay their agents, so I got very few responses, but what I did get, I wrote in as I got them. On the back is tanning and the sewage disposal construction permit. At the bottom of the sewage disposal construction permit, where I wrote in, that's what the towns pay out to their agents. Okay, so we have a revolving fund that was established in 1983 for sewage and parks. And in 2019, the bylaw was created, which says the fees for percolation tests and disposal works construction permits are to pay one of its members or agents for inspections associated with percolation tests and disposal works construction permits. There is not an appropriated percentage for this. The only restriction we have is that in the bylaw, it says that 1/2 of fees from inspections to a limit of 7, oh, that's plumbing and gas, I'm sorry. Our only restriction is that we can only spend $6,000 out of the account. We have to leave $1,000 in this revolving fund at all times. We can only expend up to $6,000 a year. Looking at past records of perks and disposal systems, we're not quite at expending $6,000, but we could be soon. It seems like there's been a lot of development. I think leaving that would be okay for now, but we do have the option to change that at the upcoming town meeting, but the selectmen do want our articles in by the 23rd. So it'd be something we'd have to talk about tonight. I talked to Dunn, the treasurer, I talked to Tammy, the accountant, and I talked to Nancy and Lori in the clerk's office to make sure that I was understanding this bylaw correctly, because my question was, are we able to just change the percentage? Because right now Ken gets 50% of every fee with the permit. So we charge $200 for the perks, it's on those graphs there. He gets $100. We charge $250 for the septics. He gets $125. He gets $75 for an initial review, $50 for the plan review. That's after the final as-built comes in and he reviews it. So the thought process behind all of it was that we want to make sure we have somebody that's qualified in the seat, and maybe we could entice Ken to stick around and be our agent, maybe. So looking at what other towns charge and looking at what other towns pay, I didn't, propose a fee to put into the permit fees. Maybe we keep it the same and change the percentage. I figured that would be something that everybody could talk about and look to see, okay, so like sewage disposal, Warren is right up there. There's 3 surrounding towns that are lower than us. I think their population is actually more than ours. I don't know. I mean, that's something that everybody, I think, needs to kind of chime in on. I don't want to just propose something and then have everybody agree just to agree. I think everybody should kind of look at it. Because we can change the percentages. We don't have to change them a lot, but other towns aren't paying too much of a difference, I don't think, for like, I mean, they kind of are. I mean, Ken gets $100 for a perk. A new construction perk, the cheapest one is $175. And then on the construction permit, I mean, I think that we're kind of in the ballpark with, I don't know.
So,
I didn't get a lot of data, not a lot of towns responded to me on how they break down their percentages on what their agents are paid. Yeah, you're thinking something.
North Brookfield. OCAM. Why can't we call those guys up there that do that testing, perk testing, and see if they'd be available to come down here?
We could, but we still have to figure out what we're gonna pay them. If we're gonna leave it the same, that's okay, but since we're redoing the entire fee schedule, I figured it would be a good chance for everybody to look at the prices of what other towns are paying. I mean, we could,
It looks like we're right in par though.
kind of, I mean, I think our perks are a little low. Everybody else is $75 higher, but I mean, these aren't neighboring towns either, because it's really, a lot of towns, A, don't respond to phone calls or emails, or B, don't keep up their websites. So all of the data that I've gotten is from towns that have either posted their fee schedules or responded to my emails, or a combination of both. Yeah, we could reach out to OCAM, we could reach out to anybody, but we have to figure out how we're gonna pay them.
Well-
And we're gonna have to advertise too.
So, not for nothing, hey, what if we find out what these people actually want to be paid to do that?
I was kind of thinking that too. I mean, we could advertise, and then they could come in and,
Then that would give us like a, ground level start on what to do with our percentages, just so we don't over percent or something like that.
right, so then that would only leave us able to change the percentages if we, we have the ability right now to change the whole cost. We don't have to, but yeah, we could leave it open-ended and then just change the percentage. That's fine, we can change it any time.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure you guys did in 2019, because I was looking through old invoices, because everybody got really confused when I started digging around in all this stuff. For the way we were paying Ken, it increased by $25 in November, so, I mean, I didn't get a chance yet to go through the old minutes, but I was going to, just so everybody knew, but I think that you guys probably as a board voted to increase it to $25.
$25.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was in November. So why don't we touch base with all those towns that you found here, nearby?
Oh, well, these are, this is all recent. All of this data is recent.
Yes.
Yeah.
To see who they use and see if we can touch base with them and ask them if they would be willing to come here to do that. And what do they charge?
Well, we know what they charge, kind of. Half of them.
Yeah, we do, huh?
Yeah.
Well, but because, not for nothing, Nate, what happens here is that we could be, they could be in town for like Belchertown, and then for them to come from Belchertown to here, there could be 1,000 excuses out there, 1,000 reasons why they might want a little bit more.
Yeah, Belchertown and Munson are in the process of regionalizing right now with like 5 towns out west. So I don't know if they would do it without regionalizing, but it's still worth reaching out. I mean, I think there's enough people around. But a lot of these offices also have their own health agents and stuff too. I don't think we have that, right? Are you a health agent or a health inspector?
I was hired as the health inspector.
Yeah, all right, so reach out.
What do you gotta do to get up the ladder to health
I've been on the list to go to the soil evaluators class, but I haven't, I'm still on the wait list.
Did you take soil stuff in college? No.
Are you up to doing something like that?
Down the road, but I think I have plenty going on right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Try to twist Ken's arm.
Not yet. Not yet. Not What do you think, Charlie?
Just-
Let's touch base with the other towns first. Let's get some information in from, ask them, who does your inspections? Can we get their phone number, address, or their name so that we can send them a card or, an invitation? Hey, we're looking for, and a position is open. Would you be interested in
Right.
performing your services?
Will this have to be in the newspaper and be posted as a job?
A job? Let's
In
try
other
that.
words, it's like,
Because we would be hiring an agent.
yes.
You-
So
why
it'd be
wouldn't you
almost like a
contracting
bid.
it?
I don't know.
My position was contracted,
It was, okay.
so I
Did
assume
you-
that you guys would be looking for a
Contracting.
contractor.
Yeah.
So we would
Because if
have
you
to
hire
do
an
all that.
agent, I'm just gonna throw this out there, if you hire an agent, they're not likely to come here unless they can do both jobs, which means I'm gone, which is your decision to make, but
Well, we can't have that.
Oh, no, I think
We
we
can't
should.
have that.
So when you hire a contractor, do you have to post it on paper?
I
Let's see if it's.
don't believe that that was,
Do you have to what, Brianna?
Like she said, post it in a paper or anything like that, advertise
As a
it?
contractor?
Yeah, like we're looking for this.
Oh, Jesus.
I mean, we shouldn't do any, well, we could reach out to other towns, but I wouldn't do any of that either until we have final word on what's going on with Ken. Because we still have somebody filling the seat right now, but
Do we have any of these items that are hot? Or we have any construction companies that need to have this done right now, tomorrow, yesterday?
well, I mean, yeah, but we still have Ken here doing these things.
Oh, okay.
This is just a down
But
the
he's
road
still,
thing.
he is still involved in it at this point in time.
Yeah.
So we have time to work with this.
Yeah, we do, but because we're also doing the fee schedule, I mean, so not thinking about any of that, but looking at what we have for fees with the other towns, I mean, do you guys think that we should change the fees for any of this stuff or just leave it the same? I mean, I think for tanning, we should actually really go up. Warren is the lowest for tanning.
Yeah.
We charge $50 for a tanning permit. I mean, that's really low compared to what other people charge. I think we could go up with that a little bit. But that's up to you guys, but I mean, that was the purpose of these.
You know what I'd like to see? Go ahead. Go ahead.
sorry.
No
I was
worries.
just going to interject that in Sturbridge, our fee for tanning is $20 for, $50 for a tanning permit, I believe. Did you put that in there?
Yeah, I have it, I'll print it out right here.
Doesn't matter how many
Or
days
is
they
it up
got.
to what do we have now? Is it 100?
I don't know.
I was just doing permits today. I was thinking it was 50. I could be
It could
completely
be.
off. But it's only
Tanning salon is $100 plus 25 for each unit.
Oh,
for
that's right.
storage.
Which I think is a little bit overpriced, to be honest with you, because it's 2 inspections a year, and the plan review is the bigger time consumer. But the inspections themselves doesn't typically take that long, because once you inspect it once, it's up to code, and unless they change something, it's gonna be the same. It's not like a restaurant.
So that's an interesting formula. So you're going to charge us an hour to do this?
For a tanning inspection, I don't think it would be an hour's worth. I don't think it would be an hour's inspection, certainly not. If they have one booth, which most of these places have 1 or 2 booths, we're not talking about the huge, we have one in Sturbridge that has 8 booths. Even that one takes me 45 minutes. And a lot of that is just communication, education, reviewing things. If they only have one stand-up booth, like we have one of those in Sturbridge as well, it's a 15-minute inspection once they're established, because nothing changes.
Trish, don't you have like a 1 hour minimum or anything like that?
Well, I do, so for me, I've been approved for, portal, I invoice portal to portal. So if I come here, then I'm typically booking several things at once. So I wouldn't just invoice you for just doing a tanning inspection, I guess is my point. I don't come out here for just one tiny little thing. I'm coming out here for 2 or 3 hours at a time
Okay.
to maximize the amount of money that you guys are putting into my time. if you're going to be doing, if I was out, yeah, so if I'm coming out here to do a tanning booth inspection, I'm doing complaints, I'm doing office time, I'm doing other inspections as well.
But
Does
my
that
point
help?
is that, you know, we're charging $50 and the $50 goes to Trish is where I'm at here. Does anything come our way to, we can put in the bank for the Christmas party? Just want to make sure there's a little going to the town, that's all. So where do we sit with that as far as, are the tanning, we're $75?
We're 50.
50. It's got to go up. I would kick that up to at least 75. $25.
Okay.
And then do we get into what happens if you see something and you gotta go back and see whether or not it's been resolved? Is there anything involved with as far as like meters to make sure that they're putting out, you know, the correct spectrum of light for tanning and not some sort of infrared thing that would
That's
burn
where
you?
the manufacturer, that's where the plan review comes in, and that's where the manufacturers, the user manual kind of thing, that's part of the plan review. So when they add a new booth, it has to come through me or through us to review it and make sure that it's up to code. And so it's not really a free-for-all. And once they get a unit, it's not like they're swapping them out. They have to use the same bulbs. If one
By the
burns out, they have to.
manufacturer?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So it's not as involved as you might be thinking.
I hope I'm not overthinking it either.
Yeah.
Sounds like I might be, huh?
There's a lot involved in it, but it's
Just so
not-
that they don't go to an aftermarket, you know, because they're cheaper, but once you get them and they're putting on a spectrum that's beyond what should be a tanning booth. And before you know, all the dogs around, they're like hiding them, and
Yeah.
they're under the table and everything like that, just because their ears are more sensitive and it's da-da-da. Okay, so I'm overthinking that. So I think though that should go up to at least $75.
What do you think?
I think so.
Okay, because I'll make an argument for anything when we have, whatever we have to change the fee schedule, but I just don't want to do it.
Did you want to put that down and then just talk it over with Ken to see where he's at, so that we can bring all the pricing to him at one time instead of just one line item at a time?
Well, yeah, I mean, we're gonna have to have a hearing about all of this.
Okay.
So that's why I'm
Okay.
just like feeling you guys out now for the remainder of things. I mean, on this fee schedule, like the original one, there were things that I took out, like the funeral home, because we don't have a funeral home. And then at the last meeting, we talked about the dumpsters. I mean, we used to permit $10 for dumpsters that sat somewhere for over 3 months, and I don't remember everything Ken said about it at the last meeting, but he talked about it a little bit.
Excuse me.
I think whoever was sitting here was kind of going out and looking around and keeping track of the dumpsters. I mean, if that's something you guys want me to do, then that's something I'll do, but I'm not gonna do it. I mean, that's gonna take up my time here.
Hey,
So-
guys still here?
Can we help you?
Well, we're still.
Oh, I'm good, thanks.
Okay.
Perfect,
Thanks for stopping in.
perfect. Good to see you all. Still a meeting? Mike?
We're just ready to adjourn.
Oh, perfect. Beautiful timing.
We're talking about fees right now, there's the agenda.
Fantastic. Stuff on my part.
Huh?
So we're on to tanning, basically. And Warren was the lowest paying town at $50 for a permit. Don suggested move it up to 75. So I'm trying to feel you guys out for the remainder of the things that need to be adjusted before we have our hearing, because I need you to tell me again how I'm supposed to do that, but I need you to go slow and I have to write it down piece by piece. A hearing, 7 days, newspaper. That's
Yes.
it. Was that it?
Yeah, you gotta post what we're talking about on that, and we can dig around. We've done it three or four times, so.
Just any newspaper. Could I,
In a newspaper of general circulation
oh, in Warren.
in Warren.
Okay.
So you're probably gonna be stuck. I don't know what's left besides TNG.
I get the papers in the mailbox.
Right.
I'll check next time I
Is
get a
it
newspaper.
is it Ware River now? Or they stopped
think-
they stopped doing?
Oh,
I
Anybody
don't
else
think they
know?
deliver to Warren.
They don't. They're done with us, right?
Yeah.
I'll have to see who the paper company is that we get in the mailbox.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I believe it's Turley. It's all Turley.
Well, that sounds good.
Yeah, because I have a subscription to Ware River News, and then the Quaboag Current's still free, but you have to contact them to have it. We used to send it free to everybody, but now
Right.
the rules change. You have to contact them for them to add you on the list to get it for free.
Yeah. So we have to advertise that. And it's going to be in there for I think it's 7. It might be 14. In legal ads.
And legal ads?
In legal ads.
In legal ads.
Yeah, it's going to be posted in legal ads.
Okay, you think 7, it might be 14. Where do I find that? In MGL?
Yeah. I got to figure out.
I can probably start to.
We can dig around, look it up. I'm guaranteeing it's in the computer somewhere because we've done it 3 or 4 times. So there is a on us doing local regulations and that kind of stuff. It's been a while. It was 2015 or 16, I think, last time. Whenever this was adopted or adjusted last time was last time we did anything close to that. So would have been
2017.
Rachel. I think it would have been like the beginning of Rachel's time.
Alright.
Yeah. We don't do it often. So,
Okay.
yeah.
The other thing I went over with them. 1 minute?
Go ahead.
Oh, I thought you meant like 1 minute.
No, go
Okay.
ahead. I'm here. My
So I
ears
was
are
like
open.
looking in the bylaws and at the MGLs on how we pay like our soil evaluators and reviewers for the septic stuff.
Mhm.
I talked to Dawn, I talked to Tammy, she even I think talked to Madeline. Nancy and Lori had a little bit to say in the conversation, and overall, looking at the bylaw, it looks like we can kind of change the percentages. There's no specific percentage in the bylaw, as long as we don't exceed $6,000 and $1,000 in the account remains.
Right.
So I was just kind of,
That was a discussion we had last time. I didn't know if there was a set percent that we voted on, if it was already set. I know it said revolving fund, it said, what is it, 34.5 or whatever. I don't know if to forget that.
yeah, so I printed out the MGLs for the revolving fund, but
Right.
unless we change the exceedance, then we don't have to make a deal about it, is what I gathered from everybody, so.
Right. And I don't think you're going to have to change the, I mean, last time we upped it, because we went from, I think, 2,500 to $6,000 last time, something like that, because it was in the previous building boom when we got to the point where,
Yeah, so I looked at the Excel sheets and added everything up, and we're not,
even close.
well, we're getting kind of close, but I think we could probably go a little longer. So just perks alone were $4,000.
Not 4,000 paid out.
No, but that's
No.
what we collected.
That's what I'm getting
But then you
at.
add septic in, and I mean, you're getting kind of close.
Yeah, so I guess if we change, if you start paying consultant and we're not paying out, if we're paying out more than 50%, then we're going to probably get close. You guys would get close on that.
So then that, because we're having the permit, or the fee review thing, that was my thing, like, should we up the fees and keep it at the same 50/50, or should we keep the fees the same, change the percentages? Don suggested we see what other people want. I did reach out to a few people, but not everybody responded with how they're paid, so.
Yeah, no, and they're not going to.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
got four out of like 10. So
Yeah.
I was surprised I even got 4, to be honest, but I mean, you're kind of in the line of work, you've done it, you probably have a better idea than any of us in here.
Yeah, I've heard, the ones I know, because like the other agents talk to me, and like we've actually talked, we're talking about other fees and stuff, but some reason secretaries are tight-lipped when they start talking about how they pay stuff out.
Seriously.
Yeah, it's a weird little, and it's
Well,
public,
also-
which I don't get, so.
Some of these towns don't really even have, like a couple of them don't even have secretaries right now. Or ever have them.
Correct. Which towns are you looking at?
Hardwick, Oakham, and then other towns are regionalizing right now, so. I mean, I know they're far out, but
Yeah, but Hardwick and Oakham, so Tex takes care of everything in Hardwick over there. It's a there's a 3-person board, and one of the board members does like just doing everything. He's doing the inspections, he's doing the perks and everything up there. I don't know if they had a secretary, it was a while ago, very like a temporary thing. Oakham is out there, so I'm not sure, and I think Oakham might be part of the Worcester district or the Rutland district, which is fed by Worcester. So like there's like a 5-town consortium or something that Worcester sort of covers weirdly. There's an agreement through them.
yeah. So,
I think Phil Leger covers that.
you know, a lot of people off the top of your head.
In 20 years, man, it's just thing.
So if you look like, okay, what would your thoughts be? Would you keep the prices the same, looking at the towns that we have, or would you change the percentages? Or yeah, how would you do it?
I don't think our prices are way out of line, are they?
The only one that's kind of wonky, or not even wonky with prices, but I gotta look. The perk test is the only one that we're like really below on what an evaluator is paid. The other things are kind of ballparkish.
Right.
And I know you say a lot that it's gonna be hard to get somebody in here for $100 sometimes. So I mean, do you think we could get somebody to fill a seat for $100, or are they not?
If you find somebody that's dying to do the work,
But then they also have to be qualified.
there's your 2 things.
Right, I have the qualifications printed out, so we covered that.
Yeah, so
but-
you need a soil evaluator, and if they're gonna be doing plan review, they need to be PE or NRS. So if you find somebody that's willing to do that for that rate at this point, that's cool. I don't know if you're going to. If that's what I was pointing out when I was looking at it. Like I said, I've done the work because I said to the board, it's easy to do. It was just one of those things that I kind of do. For a long time, it was Bob and I, and then before that, it was the 3 of us rotated through who did it. Sort of leave it up to you guys. If you guys want to, if you're interested in going to get the training and doing it, then do it. If you want to contract it out like everything else, I think that's the easiest way to do it moving forward in the future. But that's sort of on you. So the board really is, you guys make decision to do stuff. You don't have to be the stamped most qualified person. You're the authority by election. Doesn't mean you have to be, you got to be smart enough to reach out and find qualified personnel to do your work. That's sort of what you need to think about doing in the future. And if you're wise enough to do that, you can have a great team behind you and get along just fine. And then that stuff comes to you for variances and other things like that, or discrepancies, and then you have the usual stuff. You have a hearing or hold a meeting, and you guys make the final say. I still do that even in Sturbridge, even though I've got, I can't say carte blanche, but pretty wide spreading, authority to sign and do stuff. There's still a bunch of things that I go to the board and I say, I'm like, here, this is what's going on. I see it this way. The other engineer sees it this way, and I make the board vote. And whatever they vote, I'm completely cool, because then I can just take it and go, all right, I'm taking this stance or that stance, and it's easy at that point. But the board is definitely the final say on that stuff. So keep that in your head. If you guys want to hire super qualified personnel and have engineers floating around, that's great. If you want to fly by the seat of the pants, that's great. There's not a lot of work in Warren. And there's some, like you said, you said we've brought in 4,000, so we've paid out maybe 2 on that. That doesn't mean it's all been paid out yet.
Right, and then that was from the last, year. So
Year, right.
Not this year, but the last full year. So
Right, and last summer
20.
was way busier than this summer. I think I've done 2 perk tests this summer, and I've got, I think, 2 more lined up. So, that's not a lot of perks floating around. So if you wanna try and find somebody and do stuff, that's fine. I told you when I'm up and gone, and if you want me to be around, I have no problem coming back and talking to you guys and negotiating stuff. But on my side, I don't know, I don't think that you're gonna find somebody to come do this for $100. You know, the engineers are anywhere from $300 to $800 to do a perk test, to do them like privately, running through from our area. And that's without a design. That's just them coming to do a perk test. So what would they witness it for? I'm not sure. Usually you end up picking up, the way it works, you end up picking up somebody that's semi-retired or has a couple of other towns floating around. They get to you when they get to you. Tough part about that is most of the semi-retired guys take off for, you know, whether it's December to March or January, February, March, April. A lot of them hit. They go south for the winter for good reason. They've got a full career. I think they're just using it for spending cash type stuff. There's quite a few guys like around there like that. Holland was like that for almost 2 decades, and that engineer just passed away this summer. But he was in his 80s. So they weren't even, honestly, those guys over there weren't even convinced that he was going to the sites and doing the work that he was billing for. So that was their discussion at that point. Well, he was 80 something. So yeah, I'm sort of leaving it up to you. I don't want to. I'm happy to come back and work with you guys and stick around and be helpful. So that's kind of a discussion you got. If you pay out, I know that quite a few of them are either getting somewhere between 85 and 100% of whatever the incoming fees are.
Yeah, they are.
It depends on what they're charging for those fees and how lucrative it is for some of these places and how many they're doing and what's going on. We have the benefit of, we have town sewer and we have septic, so we probably have like what, 35% of the town on sewer, something like that. You know, if you add it up by households and what's going on there and where the building expansion is going, you know, statewide, our state is 25% on-site sewer. You know, with the majority of it being outside the cities because they don't have full sewer departments. I don't see major sewer expansions happening, so I see whatever you have going on, it's going to be septic systems for the majority of it for now. You know, sewer's got its own set of issues down there, so I don't see them doing expansion programs at this point right now. So yeah. You know, if we get to that point, I know that I would be interested in working with you guys for an increase, and I know it's not worth the effort to come over here for $100. Living and working and doing this and being part of it here, I did it as a service while being on the board, but as a consultant side, looking at it that point of view, I don't see that as being. I mean, even this past one, I had one that was supposed to be Saturday. They canceled it. Then they called back last night and rescheduled it for that Saturday after I'd rebooked it for October. So it's moved around a couple of times, and I got one more on October 2nd that's sitting out there. So where I could come and witness one for $100, I could do one for $500. It's that route of, you know. Now that said, I don't need $500 to come over here and witness perks for you guys, but. Has to be more than 100 type range. And I can get you some other information. You can reach out to, I could get you 3 or 4 or 5 other names. But most of the ones that all the agents I know in the area have been dumping towns. Anybody that's in the small side, they're not even interested. They're so busy. COVID has kept everybody so busy. People have been dumping stuff. You know, Chrissy dumped 2 of the Brookfields that she had. Jamie dumped 2. She had 2 towns, and she dumped one of them, and that was pretty lucrative. That was $20,000 a year. She dumped that town. So, I don't know what you're going to get. Unless you grab somebody right out of school that's just looking to build, but I'm not sure. As soon as you bring somebody in out of school, then it removes them. It gets in that whole situation of if you consult here, then by conflict of interest, you can't be doing so if you're here doing the agent work, then you can't do the consulting work. So if you think about it that way, but I can send you guys a bunch of different engineering firm names and that kind of stuff, and see if anybody would be interested. but thoughts? I know you guys need to sort of discuss that. I don't really want to.
No, send us the names. That'd be
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, I don't want to steer you in any one direction or feel like there's any previous insider stuff on that. If I'm walking away and you guys want to bring me back, but I know that I wouldn't do it for $100 after I'm out of here. So that makes sense? Did I answer that question from?
Yeah, answers the question.
But I think there's enough money in there. If you went to the 90 and 100% realm of money coming in, money going out routine, that you can probably attract somebody to do the work. What's our plan review right now? $550. What are we at right now on ours?
We are charging $250 for the permit, and then you get $75 for the review, and then $50 for the final. So you
Right.
get 50%
50%.
right now.
But that's palatable on the plan review and the stuff. I mean, 250 is a palatable
Yeah, that's
number to
that's-
come in and do that, and when you're talking about,
Other towns are kind of in that same area too, a little bit.
right, so that's what I said, so you might not have to change if you guys are worried about
Just the
impacting the people that are paying for the permits and the contractors. You don't necessarily have to change, but you definitely have to change a percentage to attract somebody to come and do the work for you. You might just need to change what you pay out on that side, if that makes sense. Now, if you want to increase it, you can increase it to whatever you want. Some places increase it to, whatever, $300 or $400 or $500 and do that stuff, and going, it costs us and it's a pain in our butt and we don't want to listen to it, and they do. There's a lot of different reasons they do this stuff. I don't think it's right or ethical, but doesn't mean I haven't seen it. There's quite a few towns that there's certain permits they don't like, so if they don't like doing them or don't like issuing them, they'll double or triple charge that, which is not an ethical practice at all. You should be charging what it costs to do it, plus whatever it is to take care of, any of your fees or work on your side. So.
Are you guys good with where that cost stands? Do you want me to leave it like that for when we have the hearing? I wanted to hear you guys' input before I make an argument for any prices.
She's talking to you two at this point.
Yeah, I had to think about it. I actually need to think about it some more.
Okay.
I can't make a decision on it right now. There's a lot there to digest.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Ken, you were voted as the vet representative for Warren?
Oh, was I?
Are you
That's
okay
what I
with
get
that?
for being late?
Yep.
Woohoo!
You do not have to be a board member for that, right?
No, I do not.
Are you willing to accept that? Because
Yes,
it's
I will
two
do-
to three at this point, so.
Yeah, no, I will definitely do that for you guys. At that point, I just have to, regardless of being here or not, I can either come to a meeting or send you an email or give you a phone call and let you know what's going on at that point, what the opportunities are at that point.
Some
Question?
more pens?
Lots of pens. Yeah. This one, here you go. Question I do have for you guys at this point, are you interested in getting an iPad for the office?
An iPad for the office. What's it going to do for us?
I'm gonna give you an iPad to use, another piece of technology. You can,
Could we take it out with us when we go on inspections?
yep, you can take pictures
Yeah.
with it. You can install, if we get to the point there's there. I know that some of the forms are in PDF form or Word form that you can use and fill in or do whatever. I know you can take notes on it and do whatever else and the stuff, and you can then come log it back in and do, yes, that's exactly what the iPad is for, is to bring you
When
the
you're out
field.
and about?
Yeah. So that's one of the things that we are just voted on at the FEP level, is getting iPads for whatever. wherever we can get them for. We're having an issue getting technology right now.
So it's not for one specific purpose, it's for whatever your office needs it for.
Correct.
As long
And
as
as
it's
far as
within-
they're concerned, they're gonna wanna know that you're using it for emergency management. So when you do your drill, whenever you do your drill, bring the iPad, take some notes, and show that you're using, even if you get to keep the digital copy of the dispensing site on the iPad.
And if Warren were to ask for an iPad, a member of the Warren board has to go to the drills, or me, or one of them.
Somebody has to go to the drills anyways. But as long as you're representatives at the meeting, you're being represented at the FEP meeting, so you're good there, so you'll get that issued. One of you are going to be going to that drill whenever it happens. You gotta set that up and work on doing that.
They tell us when the drills are.
You guys set it up.
We set it up.
You set it up.
With FEP.
Yes, that's gonna be with Jamie likely, or one of the other consultants. So
And they work
Don's
with
been
Justin
to.
for that.
Did we do it last year?
Yeah, but then Westbrook.
You did it Westbrook, but the year before we did it up at the high school.
Yes.
Yeah, we did the big one up at the high school.
Well, there was a second one, wasn't it, at high school?
That was our setup that year. The West Brookfield did their own thing. So our dispensing site is at the high school. And we did have a plan for that, and the plan is supposed to be rewritten this year, and I can walk you through talking with Forrest and working on that. Basically, that's the place that you would set up, and whether you're dispensing flu shots or COVID shots or whatever happens to be, something that the health department's involved with. If there's let's say there's a radiation release and they need to get out iodine tabs to half the population, that's our spot. And there's a traffic plan. Chief of Police, the fire chief, Jimmy from CERT was there. They were all included with that. And we usually bring in West Brookfield, at least the West Brookfield Police Department, and have them talk about it and work through it, because if we have to activate it, we'll be using both police departments likely. So,
For like the traffic plan and things like that, we should have a file around here probably with
we have a
this
big
stuff.
file, yes. So traffic plan, security, so if you bring this stuff in, whatever comes in, it's gotta be guarded. So like the regional Palmer one that we took place, that one there, when the vaccine came in, that vaccine was actually, the refrigerator was stored at the police department and guarded until they brought, and every day they brought what they needed, the vaccine to the vaccination site at Congress Street. And and if you don't have a security plan, you don't get vaccine or the pills or whatever, because their worry is you're gonna lose that resource.
Right.
So, yeah. So if you guys are cool, when they reaffirm when the next survey comes out, I'll just answer yes on the iPad for this. If you think of anything else you might want or need, as we start talking about these things, then those are things you can put in for on the FEP level. And every year around June, there's usually a request form, and you put together a request form and work through that. Whether it's, more of these, well, they aren't there, but the privacy screens for setting up inoculation sites. If it's this was a FEP thing that came in years ago. There's 2 of these. Oh, there's the other one behind Mike.
How did you justify tables for emergency planning? Oh, you can put vaccines on it, right?
Put vaccines. We can break. We can break them down and bring them down. They're actually portable. Yeah, these are portable tables. You can grab these and bring them down and use them. The old laptop that's sitting around here, that is basically an anchor. These two boxes that are full of EDS supplies, those are all things that were funded and taken care of through FEP, so all that kind of stuff. When we used up our masks this year, when I went and backfilled this with masks and gloves, that came from FEP. And we should probably dig through and see, because if we need more, we can grab that, some of the cones and the other
We do
stuff.
not have any gloves in this office, because when I was doing the needles, I was looking for gloves.
Okay.
We had not any gloves.
Then that's something to let me know, because we do have gloves up
I
there,
wasn't
so.
thinking about that, because I
Yep,
couldn't
so if that's the
trust
case,
somebody.
and I'm guaranteeing there's gloves in here.
Yes, I've never opened those. I
There's just, there, you open them up and
I've
there's.
snooped a lot, but
Yep.
I haven't snooped in.
So these are our go
like
kits.
that.
These are what we go to will give us enough stuff to open up the EDS site immediately. And then from there we bring stuff in from EMS or from FAP or from regional stuff. So, but yeah, we can go through that, and if we need more stuff, we can get more masks and more gloves and get that backfilled for us.
Right.
That's what FEP is for. It's that 74 communities of support and preparation. So,
Cool.
cool. You guys are up.
You guys gotta know, well, there's a thing in your stacks here from Mass DEP. I don't know if you got my email, but I know I was gonna see you. So today, when I came in, I had 13 emails from September 10th that I just didn't see, didn't get. I don't know why, but there's that.
Pro wrestling information.
Excuse me.
On the positive side, it's the first one I've seen of these in probably 15 years.
A couple of things are easy fixes.
They're all easy fixes, honestly.
So I was gonna start digging through the contract for solid waste
I was
solutions.
damaged from it. So what you like? Go ahead.
Like, we're gonna have to know and figure out who is responsible for the upkeeping of the site. Assuming that's what we contract solid waste solutions to do.
Yep.
Okay, so they would be the people that we reach out to about not taking care of the woody vegetation and things like that?
On a portion of this, yes.
Okay, and then like when it comes time for the solar panel things, does the transfer station even accept those? Because
When it says a pile of damaged photovoltaic cell panels, I'm not sure why that's there or what it's sitting there for. Because that wasn't on the list of things, we don't accept those.
yeah.
And if they're accepting it, then it's on its own. So A, B, C. A, B, and C are all under solid waste solutions. 4 on the West Landform is something that we haven't updated with Patrick, and I don't think we've met with. I know I can't even say I don't think, unless either of you have met with Jeremy at Highway. Then we haven't addressed 4 either. I think that has just slipped our minds through this COVID stuff. So
the woody vegetation does not fall onto solid waste solutions on the west landfill.
we haven't added it to his. We haven't renegotiated with him to do that. So the West Landform is the one we just capped and closed. And that was something we were going to discuss. We were going to discuss with Jeremy, see if they could weed whack that once a year and keep that down.
Jeremy from Highway.
Yeah, haven't done that.
So would it be worth it for me to reach out to him and see if that's something he could take under his wing?
I think it's more than, I think it's a little, yes it is, but I think it's a bigger conversation than that. So I think it's one of us or all 3 of us having that conversation with him and saying, hey.
Can I invite him to our next meeting?
Yeah. Yeah, I can actually, unless one of you wants to read, either of you know Jeremy? Like, I don't know if you can call him and talk to him.
Probably.
Okay, so if either of you, one of you want to talk to Jeremy and discuss that with him and see if that's something that they'd be interested in picking up and maintaining. In years past, when I say years past, way a long time ago, when Gary was Highway super, and prior to that, Highway used to do a lot of stuff, sweat equity wise for us over there. They would actually plow and sand and take care of that stuff. Basically in exchange for whatever they collected on the roadside being able to be taken care of through a recycling center and part of payments over there. So it was sort of, you know, they were dropping the trash off and things they collected on the roadsides, and they would take care of plowing and sanding for us because that was part of the things they did anyways.
Now this is just for the old part that's capped off?
The West Landform is the old part that's capped off, yeah. The other part is contracted with Patrick. That's part of his the regular cap landfill is part of Patrick's contract. When Tom became Highway Super, he threw some hissy fit and said it's part of the contract over there, and the contractor needs to do the sanding and everything else. And then he got really pissy and was upset that when we stopped plowing on our side, when Patrick had to pick up that cost, he stopped accepting things for free. That's a no-brainer. So Tom basically shot himself in the foot and shot us in the foot, and then that's why they got an extra dumpster up there and other trash that they were taking out and doing stuff up that way.
So just see if he'll take on that weed whacking and stuff to keep that area.
Minimum of once a year. That area needs that top and the whole, all the sides in there need, so he can mow it any given time on the top. He can ride by with a mower and just mow it. And whatever mower can reach down over the edge, he can mow, and then in between it needs to be weed whacked down. It has to be the point, minimum once a year. Twice would be ideal, once in the spring and once in the fall. It has to keep it from having large woody material growing there. You know, so we wanted the bank stabilized, which is stabilized now, and now we need to get it down to where we get it down below knee height of things growing. So they don't want trees growing up that could blow over and then pull up the material and expose trash underneath. Because that landform is just capped with soil and like a clay-like soil over there.
And Highway did this for you in the past?
No, they haven't done that for us in the
Okay.
past. They did other things in the past.
Oh, okay.
So he might be interested in helping us out on that side. If we can't get that done, then when you guys renegotiate contract this year or redo contract this year, I would roll that into Patrick and see what that's gonna cost and add that to it. They won't be able to ride a mower on that. It's too steep to actually ride a mower on the whole thing, so it's gonna be hand cut, at least half of it. So those are the two things you gotta weigh.
Why can't we contract it out to one of the local landscapers?
Can do that as well.
So if do we need
So-
bids? It shouldn't be over 10 grand.
Shouldn't be, but you're gonna need somebody with $1 million liability and a full, so it's not somebody you can just hire out to any Joe landscaper. If they don't have a full liability package, that the town accepts,
Yeah.
we can't just bring them in.
Okay.
That's what I used to hear all the time when people wanted trees down. I can't bring in Joe, John Q, whatever tree guy. If they don't have certified material and they don't have full payroll and they're not paying, this is paying prevailing wage and the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
So.
Are you
if you
familiar
could,
with the landfill?
am I familiar with landfill?
Yeah. Like, have
Intimately?
you been there? Like to the Westland Farm and stuff like that?
The one we're talking about now?
Yeah, like the
Yeah.
whole area, because,
Look down to the stream and,
Yeah.
yeah.
I have. I don't know what you're asking.
well, I guess what I'm asking is, these are things that the department's gonna have to make sure are handled on an annual basis. We're gonna have to make sure that the woody stuff is down,
Yes.
right? I mean, so would it be worth it for somebody to go out there one day and make sure they know where they're looking to make sure that something is being maintained?
Yeah, we can go on a
Because I
field
don't
trip.
know.
You guys want to go on a field trip and mark it? I think, Don, you were here for the whole last project, so you know where we're at.
Right, I was out there for the bids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we can go on
Know
field
what kind of
trips.
fee they would slap on something like that, but I don't know if they're already giving us one now, then we should probably start keeping tabs on it every year. And make a note every year to go look and make sure it's taken care of, what's
Right.
everybody's found.
Which is why it'd be ideal, my personal feeling, I'm leaving, I'm doing stuff, but my personal feeling is roll it in with Jeremy or roll it in with Patrick and make it a part of a contract that's already taken care of or work done, rather than have a third contractor or another party in there.
My observations are that Jeremy is straight out already, and he has got his plate full of just regular town work. As a matter of fact, that water department keeps him pretty busy with just all the damage from broken mains, and maintaining the highway that broken water main has destroyed. From there, people that we had hired to put that to actually bring that all down to where it's now grown back up. They were out of North Brookfield. Do you remember the name of that company? That brought in that topsoil and everything that,
Oh, the one company bought topsoil, but the whole one that did the package, they were out of Agawam.
they were out of Agawam?
Yeah, we was out of Agawam, yeah. Was
Did they
Agawam.
have to go out to bid?
Yeah.
Because Scott was the one that reviewed those bids
Oh yeah, went out to bid for the whole project, correct.
for the whole project. So maybe they're interested because they know what's there and coming back, so to take a look at it.
Give them a call. I think that they're probably not for the size and where we are. Because they're not a landscaping company type thing, they were a construction,
Okay, all right.
So they actually subcontracted the tree removal and all that stuff out of there.
And if the town's only, I say only, but $1 million is a lot, but actually it's not that expensive for $1 million for insurance, so.
It's not,
I'm thinking
but
that the regular locals should carry that.
They probably do for that, but they probably don't have the workman's comp they're supposed to carry. They're probably not paying prevailing wage, and they're probably not set up to do that portion of it. So whereas these guys are doing their stuff, the number of that I know, the owner's insured, and then a lot of guys are being paid whatever the minimum wage is on stuff.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that prevailing wage is out the door right there for everybody that's in town.
Correct, but that's what for town job, that's where you're on.
Yeah.
That's why the cost of the landfill is, the operation of it is what it is. And that's why we've had people bid and look at it and go, oh, we can do this for so much cheaper. And then they get the bid package and go, oh, we gotta pay prevailing wage? I don't know if we can beat that price now. So that gets into the contracting with the town is a difficult proposition because of that. That's why we don't have a new police station. Seriously, that's the for, prevailing wage building versus somebody being able to build it and then sell it to us on the cheap.
I gotta tell you, on that respect, taking a look at this new water treatment plant for the Butler building at $5.4 million, you gotta go,
Yeah, for a Butler building for 5.4, that's crazy, right?
absolutely
Yep.
insane.
So that's what that is the world you're into with the contracting for us.
What about number 1? We were supposed to do that a while ago, my first meeting with you guys.
Yeah, I know. So that's with Scott, but it's also on us. 2 is with Scott. 3 is with 3 A, B, and C is Patrick, and 4 is on us.
3 who?
So numbers 1, 2, and 3. No, 1 and 2 are Scott. 3 is Patrick. 3 A, B, and C. And 4 is on us. So I guess I can make a phone call tomorrow. I called now to see if he'd actually pick up the phone this time. Didn't surprise me. He doesn't pick up the phone at 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
So it was sent to them. It was sent to all 3 of them. So we have 15 days to get our first, or get our answer back to them.
Okay.
Out of curiosity question, did everything end up working out fine where we had the money, we paid out everything that we had to before end of the year, right? All right, so Scott's not waiting on money. So that for Barton Logidice, whatever they are, Laguidis. It's not like they're holding stuff up because they're waiting to get paid. They've already been paid for the work that was presented.
Yeah, I gave that to Tammy a while ago. I will double check on it just to make sure she's paid it, but
No, that's fine. That's cool on that side. So I can call Scott or Matt tomorrow, or I can call Scott and Matt tomorrow and ask them if they want to continue doing work with us. That makes sense. If they don't, we've got to pick up an engineer really quick to do to answer number 2, 3, 4.
wouldn't he still be responsible for it since he was the original?
Oh, he is. He's on the hook for it. Doesn't mean he won't drag it out. Doesn't mean. So they will fine everybody if we don't work on it. They'll launch fines. The issue part of this. So this is how it normally works. Notice of non-compliance comes out, and I'll say this: we used to see these annually when we had FEJO running the landfill. Except they came with notice of non-compliance and fines attached immediately. When Bobby ran it, he used to kick the EP off when they used to come for inspections. They'd show up, he'd say, "Get the F off my landfill," and then they just send a notice of non-compliance and either $10,000, $15,000, or $20,000 fine attached to it. And we'd have to jump through hoops to get that reduced and not pay extra fines on that stuff. So since this is the first one I've seen since we haven't had FEJO up there, which is quite a long time. And I think all this stuff is doable. Are you guys freaked out by this, or just something? This is
No.
cool. Standard operating procedure stuff. So they want us in compliance. So we're getting the non-compliance notice. They're sick of waiting for Scott to get stuff to them. And for whatever reason, there was two or three issues with Patrick need to be. I can't say those are egregious, but they're enough of an issue to be worried about. That waste oil tank's not being locked up or.
Well, not for nothing, hey, but what if they were up there on the first Saturday of the month, and it was open. That's the only time that lock would really be off of there.
But it says no attendant was there, doesn't
They
it?
were there on a day they were closed.
Oh, they were there on a day it was closed? You know that for a fact?
It says it in there, that they were, I think it says there was no attendant.
Not staffed.
Doesn't it?
May 13th is a Thursday.
So they forgot to lock it.
Yeah, which happens, but still, that's an operating procedure, something that they gotta handle and take care of. That's,
So that's Patrick.
yep.
He's got to yell at those two people.
Yep, a pile of damaged photovoltaic panels, which were out back without signage or labeling, that's on him. And then batteries on the ground without,
This has been like that for years.
well, it's now caught. I think what happens is they go through and catch those things, and then Scott will let them know they have violations going on, and then they clean it up and fix it before we have people walking through and do an inspection from DEP.
So
That's all.
Scott has to let him know that there's violations going on?
And they normally do. When he catches stuff, he normally lets them know, you need to correct this, or this when he's in the field out there doing it, or whoever's doing the inspection, whatever engineer doing the inspection for the firm will generally walk through the stuff. So us missing that inspection, like not there, so I don't know if they didn't go and do it, if they did do it and didn't talk to anybody. I don't have I can't answer that right now. I haven't heard from Scott in 2 months.
Scott or Patrick?
Scott,
Because of what? I lost that.
the inspections that are missing too.
Oh,
So I don't know if the inspection was done or not done.
he's terrible with his paperwork.
Has been this past year for sure. This whole past 18 months have been atrocious. So, like I said, I guess tomorrow we have a phone call unless somebody else would like to call him. I'll call him. If I don't get him, I'll talk to Matt. He's the engineer on record from their firm. So, I don't think you've met. Have you met Matt?
No, I haven't. No,
Okay.
my name does not ring a bell.
Yeah, I think the last time he was in for meetings was when we did the actual capping. He was the actual PE that did the cap design and whatnot.
For the west, for the old landfill?
Nope, for the landfill that we capped and for the transfer station we built.
Yeah, no, I wasn't in on that.
Yeah, that would have been right before your time, maybe?
Yeah, somewhere.
Yeah. So, I'll make a phone call to Scott tomorrow and/or Matt, get back to you, and then we need to draft a letter to DEP saying how we're gonna correct whatever.
Okay.
Can you give me a call on Monday? We can walk through that. That work for you guys?
Yeah, doesn't sound like a no-brainer. It's like the agencies that are in charge of those particular items have been notified, and we are working diligently to find somebody for line item number 4.
Yep.
And because after that,
we have to
you've got
put it-
45 days to resolve those issues.
Correct, which we can get done without a problem if the other parties do their job.
Yeah.
So,
So basically, we got 45 days
to get the work done.
Get the work done.
Yes, to get it into them, whether it's filing with them, whether it's getting it there, whether it's actually mowing something,
I think the big one was going to be Scott, myself, but
and it might be. So that's why I'll just be
Okay.
honest with him, ask if he still wants to work.
okay.
Every once in a while, you have to refresh him and go, hey, if you don't like our money, if our money's not green, let us know.
Yep. 10-4. And it is green, but what he does do, he just isn't descriptive enough with his bills.
Well,
For some
like-
reason, it just was up there to
The green
just
part,
scare the seagulls
yeah.
and
So the green part is
Cap
that
something.
it gets to, we were a pretty big cash cow when we had the open landfill, and then we were capping a landfill, and we were going through all that. Those were hundreds of thousands of dollars of engineering and inspections and permitting. Oops, sorry about that. So, and then it goes from that to the few inspections during the year, the gas, and they're doing the other part. They're doing the monitoring. So the monitoring and that part's getting done. But that's a big chunk of change. I mean, that's what, 17, 16 grand that they're charging on that?
Yeah, it was 15.5, I think.
Yeah.
is that per year?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
On the
Is
well
that something
monitoring?
that we need to do every year? Or
In
was
perpetuity,
that, does that mean?
until you and I are dead.
Okay.
There will be monitoring of those wells of some fashion forever.
Okay.
The DEP.
So we have to have a budget for that every single year.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, this is the discussion that I've had when people have come and squawked and gone, it's $90,000, you guys cost so much, and you know, solid waste solutions are so expensive. Solid waste solutions is $25,000 is what we're paying to have them contract and do that. That's what our portion is. That's cheap money to run that over there. All the rest of it, the engineering and the monitoring and other stuff, that's all stuff we're gonna do in perpetuity. It'll shrink over a period of time. Pumping leachate and monitoring the wells and doing the inspections, those all have to happen. So, yeah.
What's interesting though is why they got anything about those solar panels being on the ground out there.
I don't know where those are from, and if they're accepting stuff that they shouldn't, then that's a discussion to have with them and say, hey, you know you're not supposed to take those. Why are they even here? And if they have to do with something if they have to do with the solar field,
Yeah.
then they shouldn't be there at all. And that company should be down there picking them up and getting rid of them. So I'm curious what those are. That's just a
Yeah.
curiosity for me.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But just,
And I can honestly say I haven't been up there to walk up there since last summer. You know, we used to go and walk down at least once a year and just take a look around and just cause.
well, just from going from one bin to the other, I know that those batteries have been exposed out there for years.
So give a call Monday and we'll let me know what you got. Does everybody have this?
Yeah.
All right.
I sent a copy to everybody's email too.
Awesome. How are you tonight?
Good.
Good. I'm good. You already did all your updates?
Yep.
Nice.
The next meeting is the week after because that's the day that we're both returning from the MHOA conference.
The week after what?
The 21st, the 22nd, yeah. Was it the 28th is when we
We've
decided?
changed it to the 28th.
Cool. Yeah, sorry about today. I thought I did my meeting brain and thought it was next week. 'Cause next week I only have a half day class. So I thought that I was gonna be here and I didn't realize it was this until Tricia informed me that we had a meeting this week and my head was just not in there. And then I
Well,
told
she
Bree-
informed us that you're gonna be on that conference, so we just switch it to the next week.
Yeah, completely cool. So we're going 28.
Yeah.
So that's one of the ones we were having meetings about with her and Carrie. Her and Carrie and
Assessor's office.
Assessor's
maybe?
office, yeah. So that's one of them. So, all right, just talk to her and confirm that the town received judgment. So if she's saying the town has to do it, that sounds like the town has received judgment on that and that we've actually taken that property.
Because it says the town has received foreclosure judgment. The town.
Just making sure of that. It sounds like that's the case when she's coming up with, and if that's the case, then that's one we've been working on, but
The town,
And then
by
what do you do after
order
that?
of the selectmen's
Just let it sit there and
office
rot?
and board of health.
no, at that point, it's in their hands of the selectman's office, and they would likely set up auctions to auction off property. Or if they want to keep the property, then they can do whatever they want, because that's a riverfront, so there's been multiple discussions. There were discussions about getting all three properties, raising those buildings, and having another conservation area. There
That would be nice.
was issues of getting all those properties, raising them, and then auctioning them off as one attractive property. There's been all sorts of discussions, and there's no
What's
answer.
my next step with 29 Bacon? They granted permission for town council.
They did.
Yes.
Okay. At that point, reach out. I don't know if you want to do a conference call. Don't make a conference. Find out who you were using for counsel.
KP Law.
Yeah.
Um,
Which lawyer?
Jeff Blake.
Oh, cool.
I have his email if you want it. I don't have a contact number, just email.
I have a contact number and an email. So, let's see if we can't set up a conference call, and I can walk you, maybe we can do you and Jeff and myself, if either of you want to be involved, you just need to post it if we're going to be talking on the phone. But I can set you two up and we'll talk you through that process, and you know how to go to court over these things, and that will be your court training. How's that work? He will walk you through, and they will ask for stuff out of our file. They will write up the complaint and file it with the court, and then set up the date to go to court. And I highly recommend, this is my recommendation, you guys don't have to say it, but I highly recommend that you two both go and learn how that process works. It's a really interesting process to be part of, and something that's good to know about. And it shouldn't be a scary process. It should be something that, it's going to be scary the first time, but it shouldn't be. That's the very last final thing that we do is court action outside of condemnation, but it's court action is what we do. That's the last lever to get compliance. Basically, all these things that we do, cleanup orders, inspections, cleanup orders, and that kind of stuff, these are all different levers that we use to get compliance. That's what they're there for. They should be the last resort type stuff. And this is what happens when you don't comply with an order to do something. So honestly, it's a pretty, if you look at the whole awe-inspiring, awesome stuff, it's a pretty awesome power that shouldn't be flexed unless need be. But it's something you should know how it works and where it ends up.
Now, what was the decision on 38 Elm? Was that?
The selectmen were the ones that initiated the court proceedings, so we were kind of letting them know that the nuisance hasn't been abated, and it's back to them to continue with court, I believe.
Hasn't been or has?
Has not been abated.
It's been before the Board of Selectmen again last week. The dogs issue.
The dog's not us. The
No,
fence isn't
our
us, but ours is the.
The fence is still the
Yeah, but still not
same,
us. So
but
the nuisance part was the pool.
they didn't
but
say
they pumped it
anything
out.
more about the pool.
So I thought we had left it that we were going to send a memo to the selectmen and say that it had not been abated as far as we were concerned, because
That's what I did. Everybody got the memo to their email.
Cool. You heard back from the select board on that?
No, they never responded to that one.
I haven't heard from any of them either, which is kind of.
They responded to 29 Bacon, which I sent after that one. I sent them like 3 memos. They responded to 1.
Okay. Sometimes it's the best. Here's the deal. We don't govern their board, they don't govern our board, and there are certain things that they control. Purse strings to council is one of them. So you need to be able to play nice in the sandbox enough to get your job done effectively. Outside of that, stand up for yourselves and do what's right for the town on the public health side. 2 things you should think about. You should learn the words: malfeasance and nonfeasance. Those 2 things are going to haunt you. Yes. Did you look them up and learn them?
I did.
Yes. Interesting words, right?
Yeah, they're kind of the same, and now it's getting late and my brain is dying, but one
That's
of them
okay.
is a public official that is just not doing anything, and then the other one is the wrongdoing of a public official.
So that'd be nonfeasance, not doing your job, and malfeasance is using your job to ill or doing it wrong, wantonly knowing that you're doing it wrong type stuff. So, like I said, breaking the law on one side is no better than breaking the law on the other. So, know where your authority is and use it and that stuff. Those are gonna help you guys in a long way. I know that Bree talked to me about MHOA and that kind of stuff. Did she talk to you guys about that?
We're still a member. I looked into it.
Fantastic. Highly recommend you guys dig through the information on MHOA. I think you've done some of it. I do know they do trainings. I do know that trainings are starting to come out again. Highly recommend that you go to the Board of Health training portion of it when it comes out, whenever it's available. They are working towards getting remote trainings. Everybody is working towards remote trainings and stuff just because they're finding that they can do it. But I highly recommend you do that. It gives you a broad overview of what your job and authority is with this situation and in this realm that you're working in.
I have the website bookmarked. Right now, there's nothing, like he said, like class-wise, training-wise, things like that. But
Yep.
I'll make it a point to check in periodically for you guys.
Yep.
I missed the webinar yesterday, but I'm trying to follow that COVID, that interagency.
Department of Public Health.
Yep.
Yesterday or Tuesday?
Tuesday.
Yep.
Tuesday.
That's a good one to follow. Stay on that when you
I
can.
missed it Tuesday only because I
Yep.
got
Information for you guys. You know, I have a meeting tomorrow with Department of Public Health. Myself and a director in Southbridge and a director in Charlton. I'm there as the representative from Sturbridge. Department of Public Health is looking to do a mass vac site in the Sturbridge, Southbridge, Charlton area. It doesn't look like Harrington is going to stand up their site again, so they're looking to do one, and we're hoping we can get it in Sturbridge. That would be to cover, if the boosters are approved by FDA, it would be to cover the boosters. We're figuring, depending on what their criteria for the boosters are, that it's going to be somewhere between 800,000 and 2.4 million people will be eligible for that booster over a 2-month period. So we're trying to alleviate that the pressure is going to be on the pharmacies and doctors. If that happens, I'll let you guys know, because we'll be able to put that on the site. If it happens and it can be in Sturbridge, they're looking to have that up and running by October 1.
Very soon.
Very soon. We tried to get a meeting next Wednesday, and DPH came back and said, we need it sooner. We want to have negotiations and stuff going faster than that, because we want to do the staff and set this thing up. And we're like, wow. You know, we sort of thought, yeah, we'll get going. We got a couple weeks to work on this, and you know, so if it happens, we might have a mass vac site real close, and when that stuff comes, we can put it up on our site, broadcast it, let people know, and we can go from there. Our numbers have increased a little bit over the past couple of weeks, but they're not terrible.
well, the dashboard was supposed to be out today or tonight for the schools.
Yes.
I spoke with the others about it. Something that really sent me through the roof. I don't have blood pressure issues, but I did that day.
Okay.
First day of school,
Yeah.
Quabog Regional.
Yep.
They pulled a pep rally.
Yeah.
Grades 7 through 12, all in the gym at once. They
Yeah.
could not have been spaced.
Okay.
Do you see any reason for them doing that when it was a beautiful day? They could have done it outside.
I can second guess everything that goes on in the school system, and I like you, I like my blood pressure where it is rather than where it can be.
Yeah.
So I saved my fights. You've heard my conversation about my feeling on that superintendent. So you can battle with all the stuff you want. I have found over the years it's better to be part of their discussion by bringing them in and then reprimanding them where you need to.
Do you think that was a wise move?
Wise or unwise, they're under DESI guidance right now. They're under DESI guidance. They have their own set of guidance, and they have their own stuff going on there.
Lack of common sense, shall we call it?
Maybe. You know, can they do spacing? I'm not sure. The school's not that big.
No, not with 7 to 12.
No, what I'm getting at is it's not that there's not a lot of people. When we have
Yeah.
when we can have a town meeting in there and space it out.
Yeah.
That's what I'm getting at. So I wasn't there. I didn't see what the format or setup was.
My grandson just told me that they were sitting next to each other.
Yeah, and they sit next to each other all day in school.
3 feet apart they're supposed to be.
I understand. If you'd like to go up there and go through it, that's they're under
There
mass.
were a few parents that were
Huh?
literally really ticked off about it. They said there was no need for that. They could have done it outside. It was a beautiful day.
Yeah, I completely understand. So, I like I said, I've got my blood pressure is down. My youngest has graduated, and my blood pressure is down because I don't have to go up there and crack as many heads.
Yep.
Steve is generally pretty good. You know, what made them do that, I'm not sure. I would go to. So I guess the selectmen think we're all gone.
They should avoid trafficking.
Yep. So, yeah. If you want to go up and meet them, it would be worthwhile to go up and have an introduction and meet. We can make that happen at some point.
Oh, Mr. Duff knows me.
Oh, there you go. So the thing is, when you walk up there, back to the authority part of it. What authority do you have, and what, besides being steamy on the health department side, you know, there's no...
This is personal opinion.
I know, I get that. And that's where you gotta figure out what's your authority, what's your personal opinion. I learned this a long time ago, especially in conservation. I left Ken, you know, general citizen, out in the hallway when I walk in here. And I am Board of Health when I sit here and look at it from Board of Health. Because if I walk in here with Ken, then my blood pressure is high, and I'm pissed off, and I've got all these agendas that are going on, which I don't need to have when you're supposed to be sitting here and supposed to be seeing both sides of the argument and then weighing in on it based on the regulations we have. It's a difficult thing to do. It took me quite a while to get to that point. But I leave that guy in the hallway and then deal with that here, what I have to do as a health department member. You know, it's a tough thing. You're going to see a lot of stupid crap. And then you get to the point is it a regulatory stupid crap that we can actually work on and deal with? Is it something that's worth working on and dealing with? Is it going to cost us more money by sending an inspector and an admin out to look at and review and do whatever? It's the same way we're looking at a police officer or something. At some point, are you going to write a ticket for every jaywalker you see? Or do you set up and go, okay, we're just doing DUIs and seat buckles for kids, you know? So that's something you just got to figure out where's the sliding scale of this hits the enforcement side for us, and this is our line that we've drawn. And this is the gray area that you can go by, hey, you guys really shouldn't be doing that. And when they understand that they feel like you're doing the right thing pretty regular, then they listen to you and they start doing the right thing pretty regular. Especially when they think that you're doing it for the best interest of the town and the public and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
It takes a while to build that confidence in the public.
Yeah.
So, it's tough. I can't tell you that. She's heard me vent, he's heard me vent, she's heard me vent. I got plenty of opinions. So.
I think the deer up in the woods heard me vent that.
What else you guys got going on that you need to... That's nice in 1061. That's a good thing. Thank you for that info. What else you got? Do you have anything else you want to do? Talk about?
I mean, I have a couple questions I have to ask you. I don't know if we need to be in a meeting for that.
That's cool. No, we don't have to be. So,
You want to adjourn the meeting then?
if you guys are good, I'm good. I swung into fly stuff.
Okay.
I actually have something to, before you adjourn, I have something to address.
What do you got?
Okay. So I had put in a request to be on the agenda.
Uh-huh.
Okay, oh, so you're aware of that, okay.
Yep.
So I was just curious what happened to that, because I was kind of told that, and not blaming anybody, I'm just asking just a generic question. So I submitted one agenda item, and then there was a second that I called agenda item 2 to discuss two separate things. Then I realized it's probably too much to discuss at one meeting, so I'd actually told Brianna, why don't we do this one here and then this one here.
What was agenda item 2?
That was the Lois Fegel gravel pit issue. So the agenda item number 1 was 600 Old West Warren Road, the
Okay.
contamination there.
Yep.
So I was, so originally when I put in the agenda request, there was supposedly going to be some communication with the planning board to see if they have any documentation or whatever.
Which they do, and they provide it with us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is that something you got recently or?
Past 2 weeks?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so you did get some answer back from them, okay.
Yes, yep, they had
Oh,
an
okay.
environmental study done,
Oh, okay.
and they didn't find any non-compliance when they had their environmental study done,
Oh, okay.
so.
Okay. Well, the reason why I wanted the agenda item is because the witnesses to the contamination were the planning board members. Because they publicly discussed it, and I filmed the meeting, that they observed lots of fluids leaking out of cars, and that was just a couple months ago when they were there at Copart for a meeting with the general manager. And so they discussed it and said there were at least 15 cars possibly, well, right in front of leaking antifreeze. There was oil going down a river. There were probably another 50 to 60 cars leaking fluids. And so they did address this with the manager. And then they also discussed it at a planning board meeting in public that the Copart manager did not have any hazmat cleanup stuff, that he was just letting it leak into the property, so ever since they've had the permit, they've been letting all these fluids leak into the ground. And that was an admission from the planning board members. So where I was confused is they then started this previous owner discussion, and it turns out there was some stuff there that there was additional problems with the previous owner, an individual gentleman, and that he had buried lots of toxic materials in the property before it was sold to Copart. In addition to this whole entire mess, Derek Valise, as a planning board member back in 2017, observed, so there's actually three or four separate instances of toxic chemicals leaking into the ground, and they've never been addressed by the Board of Health. And I did actually ask David, Derek, and Richard, who are on the planning board today, was any of this ever reported to the Board of Health, to any town officials, the police? Nobody. It was all...
I say that'd be a no. So the first time we heard about it was a month ago, and we asked them for if they had that, because when it was presented to us, the stuff that we read, it was when they were getting their new permit that they had noticed this stuff. So the question was, did they have an environmental assessment done?
That I don't know. But previous to that, Derek Valise, who was on the Warren Planning Board, he was the one that filed a complaint with DEP for what he saw, and he took pictures. And then Mr. Fiegel...
Why did they file it with DEP when they hold the permit?
Well, it turns out there's two separate issues going on there. So 600 Old West Warren Road, technically Copart doesn't have a valid permit because the permit was transferred from Mr. Fiegel to Copart when the property was sold. They were supposed to apply for a new permit, and they never applied and got a brand new permit. So the planning board transferred it knowing it wasn't valid by transferring it. And I was at the meeting that I video recorded, and I said, excuse me, shouldn't they get a new permit? And the planning board members at the time said, oh no, we're not purchasing it, we're just changing the operational name of it. So instead of John operating it, it's Copart operating it. And then I said, well, that's not true because I have the real estate sale. And because he sold it, Mr. Fiegel's permit should have been closed out and a new permit should have been issued. And it turns out, according to my public records request, there was no permit ever issued to Copart directly.
All right.
So in other words, and then Derek took pictures, took several dozen pictures when Mr. Fiegel, just a month before it was turned over, and then he saw lots of issues. So the issue is the DEP was going to go out and inspect it, but it turns out the one who closed out the DEP complaint was Bill Ramsey. It says, I represent the planning board, and and I have the inspection report. The DEP put in there that the town cleaned up the property, which is not a true statement.
I don't think that's true.
No, it's not true.
Right.
So somebody lied to DEP saying the town cleaned it, and then DEP said, oh, well, if it's clean, they closed out the complaint. So due to this issue so now Derek, this is just my personal opinion, but I just want to share this information with you. So even just 2 nights ago, the Fiegel family is now harassing Derek and filed a prevention order, but a no trespass order on all of John Fiegel's property in retaliation for Derek, as a board member, calling DEP to have them come down there and inspect it. So I have all the DEP records, including the DEP complaint for the Brimfield Road property, and I also have the DEP complaint from 600 or West Warren Road that shows that Ramsey called up and closed it out and said the town paid to clean it up.
That's cool, but let's go to the other thing. So did they go to court yet, and Derek get that thing lifted or no?
No, it turns out that
It's a new one.
So it turns out that so I have the planning board meeting minutes that show that the board was fighting amongst themselves that the property was contaminated. And then all that Mr. Ramsey said in the meeting minutes was, oh, don't worry about it. And they issued Mr. Fiegel a junkyard permit for 386 Old West Warren Road, even though the contamination was over at 600 Old West Warren Road. And then I questioned, saying, wait a minute, you're giving him a junkyard permit now when he's had the junkyard there for 9 years. And I found out that for 9 years at 386 Old West Warren Road, he had no permit ever for 9 to 12 years. And in 2017, they gave him his junkyard permit for 386. So I'm like, so that's why. So Derek Valise did the right thing by seeing contamination, called the DEP as a planning board member, and then when he had this discussion, Mr. Feja was there, and then there was some shouting back and forth, and then so Derek wanted the permit to be halted for 386 to address the contamination in 600. So nothing has been fixed.
How long ago was this? Because the Ramsey's off the board for a while now.
The planning board meeting minutes that shows all this arguing back and forth proves there has been contamination.
How long ago was this?
The meeting minutes are from 2016 and 27 and
That's what
2018.
I'm trying to get to. So
Yeah.
well, I know Ramsey's been off for a while. So
Yeah.
what is the current planning board doing?
Nothing.
So they hold the permit, so they can revoke it and shut them down.
Well, it turns out I already talked to the planning board members, and I says, I'm totally confused, because it says you publicly said 600 Old West Warren Road was contaminated when you just went to have a meeting with the manager. Because what Copart is doing right now is they have a new planning board permit in there to expand the property. They want to cut trees down and add more cars. Now, I found out from talking to the fire chief that there have been at least a dozen fires, and the most fires that they had was 52 cars were all on fire at once. So there's been a pattern of not only these toxic chemicals, but lots of car fires, tractor trailer fires, all these fires. And I've asked for records requests from the the fire chief, who tells me, yes, we've been up there a dozen times, and we had 51 or 52 cars on fire at once. And I said, well, what happened to all the hazardous materials? And he just admitted to me they just let it soak into the ground. So then I've now gone to the planning board saying, well, you publicly admitted a few months ago that you've seen all this, and I says, why have you not contacted the Board of Health to tell them that?
Yeah,
And he says, oh, well, we're just dealing with this permit. So you're going to give them a permit to expand, and now they want to bring in another 500 or 800 cars when they have 3,000 or 4,000 cars there now, and you're a witness to the contamination. And he says, well, I've got the cold shoulder why they can't say to me in a public meeting, why haven't you told the Board of Health this? You're witnesses to this.
Who did Derek contact? You know?
Derek called DEP Springfield.
You don't know who?
I have the complaint in my computer
Alright.
because they forwarded it to me. So he called an enforcement agent, and then they never came out to 600 Old West Warren Road because Ramsey called them and said the town cleaned it up at the town's expense, which is not a true statement. Because I did a records request 2 years ago asking, not to you, but to the selectmen, saying, did the town pay for any cleanup, and did anybody clean up at 600 Old West Warren Road? And the answer is no. So there's actually 4 separate issues of 600 Old West Warren Road during the past several years that there's toxic chemicals all over the ground in there. And I know part of the solution is because I actually had a meeting because unfortunately I hate to say this, but John Fugel got divorced, and I met with the ex-wife, and she actually told me there were hundreds of 55-gallon drums that were buried all under the Copart section. She has the map, she knows where all of they are. She was married to John at the time.
And nobody
Yeah.
lives in that house up there
And,
because the
right, and she
water's
told me that
contaminated.
the White House, which is the White House where Lois and Bobby lived, that water's been contaminated for 14 years because all the chemicals leaked into the well. So that's why nobody lives at the house, because the water has toxic chemicals. And then this is the ex-wife telling me that it's been that way for 14 years. And I said, well, why doesn't the town know about all the toxic chemicals in the water and all this buried stuff? And that's because, so I don't think that Mr. Fugel has told Copart when it was sold to them that all this stuff was buried under there. And the reason why I wanted to be on the agenda is because 2 Mondays from now is the final hearing of the Copart expansion, and if they vote on that, they're going to vote on the permit to expand it. And then I even asked the planning board, when I told them I attended the October 17, 2017 hearing where I asked the question, they should have a new permit. And then the planning board said, oh no, they're not selling it. When I already had the piece of paper with the real estate right here in my little book. Because if it was a real estate sale, then John Feger would close out his permit and then Copart gets a brand new permit. But instead, now Copart's grandfathered
Can you
because
get
they
us-
just
can you
ignored
get
all
us
the
the
planning board
complaint?
rules.
The
Can I get-
original complaint that was put in a DEP?
Yes, I can get you a copy of that.
Okay.
Because I have the 600 one, and then I also have the one for the Brimfield Road location too. And that one was created by, I don't know who. I don't know if that might have been the town that did that. Because remember I talked to you about that a while ago?
We did. Yeah, we went out and looked at it.
Yes, and it turns out, so the health inspector, Dawn Toon at the time, she's the one that took the pictures of the
Yep.
contamination and everything else and that.
On the front door?
So give me the
And then
one.
that complaint was actually closed out by a town official as well that says, oh no, that's been cleaned up, don't worry about it.
Give me the one on the 600 Old West Warren.
Sure, okay.
You guys good with that? And we can make a phone call to DEP. So if we get at that, then we know what's going on over there.
Right.
So I don't know why they called planning board and not board. So DEP never called us on that.
I don't know, right, I was more upset that the planning board had information of contamination, which is a board health matter, and they failed to tell you, the board, who should know that information.
Yeah, that'd be nice. So if you get us that, then we can
Well, I
at least
find
call-
it to
we
be
can call-
egregious, I mean, don't get this personally, but I find it to be egregious, because they admitted it, at least in 2 separate meetings, that they saw all these toxic chemicals and at least 40 cars leaking antifreeze and gas all over the place. And they discussed it, and then I asked them at a meeting, well, what have you done about it? Well, we're talking about it. I'm like, no, you should be telling another town board. And then when then 2 months later, oh no, we haven't talked to anybody about it. Well, what are they waiting for? Are they waiting for,
Well,
to
shouldn't be
contaminate the
granting-
water
shouldn't be
supply or
granting
what?
more permits for somebody that's already violated the permits they have, but
Right.
that's the planning board to deal with.
R-
So-
Right, correct, yes. So I can't speak for them other than I'm just giving you the information that they just don't seem to care, and I think that's negligent, so.
So can you?
Yeah,
send it
so what
along
would
to
you-
Bree? Email it to Bree?
Yeah, sure.
Yep. And then we can see who the complaint was with, and we can get in touch with that inspector and figure out what's going on. If they're still there, if they're not there,
Yeah.
we can contact DEP.
Okay.
But if you have other information, that'd be cool as well.
Yeah, okay. So I guess that goes back to my question. So what was the reason for not being put on the agenda?
Because the information that was given to us last time was that there was I don't know how to explain that best. The concern of having pollution up there, and they had dealt with it, so we reached out to the planning board and asked if they'd had an environmental inspection done,
Yeah.
which they sent back to us. Didn't realize they're getting ready to grant another one on violations that are already there.
Right.
I thought it was set and put to bed.
Oh, I see.
That's why.
So why didn't?
Add that to
oh.
what we have on this agenda and what's going on. That's
Oh, okay.
you're here tonight, and we're listening to you now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not as easy as just sending Bree a thing and it gets granted. It's not a grant to you. It's not a free for all.
Oh no, I understand that. Yeah,
so-
but I would just also appreciate of what you just said. Well, we didn't put you on the agenda because this was the report we had.
Yeah.
But if you would have said, "Hey, we got this report and it shows that there's nothing," then I would have, because that was never sent to me. I don't know what they sent over to you. So
I don't know what you don't have, because I assume that you generally have most things, Mike. So,
well, that's what's disturbing, right? I have the video footage of the planning board discussing this and just laughing about the contamination, which that's why I say it's egregious. They should have done something instead of just allowing it. And then on the hearings the public hearings that they're having with Copart, with the Copart general manager there, right? They're magically, remember, we don't want to talk about the contamination. They haven't mentioned a single thing on the contamination. But in the separate meeting when Copart's not there, they mention it like 20 times an hour. So.
gotcha. So,
And the general manager admitted he doesn't have any hazmat cleanup stuff. He goes, well, we got this little kit in the garage. And he said, okay, how many times have you used it? 0. And he goes, so cars have been, and then and the manager's on this, Zoom call and says he never used it. So he says, so stuff's been leaking for all these years and you never used any absorbent or nothing. No. And he even admitted, we just let it leak into the ground. So.
So it's definitely something I would like to.
So, right, so there's definitely evidence from that video, from the planning board's own video that, right,
Yep.
that you should have been contacted. Or somebody, right, it should have been addressed as an environmental concern issue.
I can agree on that, especially if it's going back to 2016 or further. So,
Right, somebody should have said something then. Right, and like I said, there's 3 or 4 separate instances of just separate contaminations at 600 West Fern Road. And then we already know about the issue for, the
yeah.
Lois
So
Fiegel thing, yeah.
if you can get us the one from 600 Old West
Yeah,
Warren,
sure, I can take care of that.
and then
so.
we can move from there and
Yeah.
see which DEP person was working on that,
Okay,
if they even assign it to a specific.
right, I see what you're saying, yeah. And as far as I know, no person came out. Because it was like 2 days later, Ramsey called, because Ramsey's name on there is calling them and squashed it. So that's why the DEP never went to see it, because then they would have said, holy crap, look what we got here. And there was not a single word said.
And now
And that's why I
it's
think
covered
that's,
with the asphalt now, isn't it?
I don't know,
Asphalt, no, you won't. You'll pick it up if you go and do
yeah,
Okay.
ground testing.
all right. So I appreciate that. So is it possible that you could send me that document that the planning board sent you?
Can I get
Yeah.
other people asking?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, is it emailable or is it in paper?
Yeah, can I do it Monday?
Yeah, no, I don't need it right away today, yeah. All
Yeah,
right.
and you can send her the
Yes, I will look for that and send it to her,
yeah,
yes.
the call for the complaint and/or inspector that was in charge of what's going on, and we can go from there on our side.
Yeah, okay,
At least reach out and see what they did or what they didn't do.
right, correct, yeah. But I agree with you 100%, if there's a problem, right, they should be putting a hold on this. Because they've already had 2 or 3 public hearings, and the last one is 2 Mondays from now, and they're closing it out then.
Do they
And
have
if-
any other complaints from any other butters?
I don't think any of the abutters complained.
I don't think they knew about it.
But they know about the contamination, because they were the one talking about it.
That's
So
what
you
I'm
would,
talking
so you
about,
would
yeah.
think that if I was on that board and I knew about first thing I would have said, I'm gonna put your application aside over here, because first we're gonna discuss the contamination issues that we saw. And that was never addressed.
Yeah,
So-
they've got an order of conditions and a permit that they issue that's got to be upheld every year or
Yeah,
every 2 years or whatever it is.
yeah. Would it be okay for you to go to the planning board secretary and get a copy of the current permits that they have now? The planning board permit? Because I bet you that would be, because then that would show that the permit was transferred from Mr. Fiegel to them, and they never applied for a new one.
Yeah. Won't change anything with us.
No, I
We can't
understand that,
we
yeah,
can't
yeah.
affect the permit status because there's zoning and zoning officers, all files under
Yeah,
planning.
exactly,
And
yeah.
so from there, it needs to be addressed
Yeah.
through the select board,
Right.
which
and
happens to be the
yeah,
planning board.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So I can get you that, and yeah, and then my opinion is
You
it should,
complain to them, what are they gonna do, go against themselves?
So you can complain in 2 different areas. So on our side, if you want to get that, you guys okay with that?
Sure.
Yes?
yeah.
Go for it.
And then, I would like the health inspector to certainly check into it. 'Cause I
I'm
think
not
it'd be
gonna send a
the,
health inspector out there.
no?
She's not an industrial hygienist and she's
Oh,
not,
okay.
so that's
Oh,
not
okay.
what we're gonna send out there. So we're gonna send DEP,
Oh, okay.
see if we can't get them to go
Oh,
out
okay.
there and do some testing on that.
I don't understand all this stuff, but whatever.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
All right.
Us walking on the property at this point wouldn't serve to give us anything besides a visual.
Yeah.
But if we have a complaint and we know that there was issues out there and we can find out what DEP did or didn't do, then we can ask from there and go, there was a solid complaint, why wasn't there at least a field inspection done?
Right.
So,
Yeah. Okay.
they are definitely the people to be doing that kind of work and
Yeah.
and
Exactly. Yeah.
we have enough brownfields in town as it is,
Yeah.
so.
All right.
And I'd be interested to know who else is over there. We should find out who's on, yeah, let's start with that. We good?
Start where? Ken?
Start with DEP.
Yes.
Yes?
Absolutely.
Yes?
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Appreciate your
So get
time.
that to Bree, and then
Yep.
she'll get it to us and make a phone call and talk to DEP and see what's going on there.
Yeah. Okay.
Good with that?
All right. Yep. And thank you for sending me that stuff when you do.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
Good there?
All set. Thank you.
Easy peasy?
Easy peasy.
All right.
We all set?
Bye.
I guess you were last.
You okay?
Anybody
good.
got anything else?
I'm good. I'm happy.
No?
Awesome.
I make a
Entertaining?
motion to adjourn.
There you go.
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting, Board of Health on, at 8 o'clock on the 16th of September, 2021.
Motion made?
Second motion?
Motion made second, any discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye,
Aye.
that's unanimous. Nice to see you all, stay healthy. I will give you information if